Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is I and I am him, the one and only Steel Rain, and you are now tuned in, locked in to your morning show, Living Split Screen in the Morning. And look, man, I'm here with one of the most significant guys, the most podcasting extravagant person I may know, the guy who brings the energy every week, the man who puts the soul in Pong. What's going on, my guy?
You must be talking about somebody else. What's going on? What's going on, Steel?
Hey.
Man, look, that intro gets, I don't know, I guess better and better, but that's like crazy. You need to calm down. I'm gonna have to start coming up. I'm gonna have to like spit it back at you and come up with something big for you. But man, hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 7 of Living Split Screen. That's right. That's my lucky number 7.
Lucky
so
number 7.
We are gonna have a great show today. Man, Saturday morning. It's beautiful outside. I gotta do yard work later, so you know what? I'm gonna enjoy this right here. So. Man, I can't believe we're back again, but we are, chat. I love seeing everybody waking up and joining in, man. The family's in the house. Caitlin, Mav, who else we got? Casket Repair. We got Black Card is in here. Animated Evil's in the house. Brother Mike came in really early. Thank you, Brother Mike. Hey, Brother Mike. Brother Mike representing.
Hey, next level. You got the T's on.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. I got the T.
We got Wanna Wait in the house. Black Card in the house. What's going on, people?
Ooh. Is Wanna Wait? Look at this. Lemon showed up.
Beautiful people this morning, man.
No doubt.
That wasn't quite the intro that I wanted this morning, but it's okay because I'm going to continue to work on it. I was working on such a more extravagant intro because I just wanted to be so different. You know what I mean? Not necessarily different, but I just wanted to put my own spin on it. And again, it didn't go the way I wanted to, but that's okay. Look, man, just to kind of start it off early. Look, the week has been wild. I feel like between me and you both, we're stepping into another Saturday where we haven't really had a chance to speak to one another. And we're about to see, I mean, of course, we've talked. I mean, or whatever the case, with the DMs or whatnot. And on Xbox.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking to yourself.
Blocked?
I blocked you.
Oh, that's the problem, man.
Yeah, exactly. I tried to yourself.
Hey, man, I tried to send you a nude. You didn't send me back. I didn't know what happened.
Oh,
that explains it. That explains it.
No more of those pics, man. No more of those pics. I can't have any of that. I can't.
That's a fact.
Mike's gonna start questioning me.
Oh,
all right.
That's a fact. But look, man, I want to really start it off with, man, what we have been getting into this week. Before we get into the upcoming game releases, as we have started doing, hopefully y'all are feeling the adjustments I have made. For those who are tuned into the stream live, try to add some equalizers. I wanted to give us more of a feel when we're talking and whatnot, just to make it more personable, you know, just to give people a real, a solid professional feel, you know. And I figured you would like it too, Pong. But anyway, look, man.
I like it.
So to start off with, I'll go first. Look, it's been a crazy week for me. Other than work, man, I have been diving headfirst, as y'all can see in the background, for those who are watching, Dead Space. Man, I don't understand how I skipped this series in the back then. Actually, I mean, I do understand. I was a multiplayer gamer, bro. When you're consumed in PvP content, you're going to ignore single player games, especially when you got homies. You're always like, yeah, bro, let's go kill some people. Let's go hop in this match and catch some bodies. And like, God, okay, let's go, let's do it. You know what I mean? But I've had the experience. I downloaded the entire Dead Space series 1 through 3, especially the content and the DLC for 3. So I'm currently playing through 1, and I'm having a great time. Other than the fact that the controls is off, they're dated. As far as like the sensitivity goes, it feels off. It doesn't feel as crisp. But it's still a magnificent time. Like everything that people have said about it, all the positive notes that people have made on it, so far I have seen to be true. What
I'm
I'm
so
most
happy you're jumping into this. I'm so happy, man.
facts. When I'm most impressed by it, and y'all might notice it in some sections, almost every corner, I'm either aiming around the corner or preparing myself for something to be there. Because what this game does very well with the enemies, and this is something that I love when games really take this serious, is that the enemies are scary, man. They have a presence. When they're coming at you or whatever, you have not necessarily that I'm scared, because I'm not necessarily a scary kind of gamer type of gamer, whatever.
Come on,
the case.
say it, scaredy cat.
Not to that extent. But for me, it's more so the presence of the enemies is what was always important to me. It kind of took me back to Halo when I first played Halo. When you were introduced to the Flood, that fear factor that they gave you, you didn't want those the little ones to jump on you, and you get that feeling your shield is draining. And it's kind of the same thing in here, where the enemies are coming at you. If you don't shoot off the limbs, shooting them in the body does nothing. You have to shoot off their limbs to kill them. And that adds an extra level of fear that I feel like a lot of games kind of miss when it comes to this. And Dead Space has done it very well. Again, and not only that, man, but it holds up graphically too. Is it perfect? No, but for those of you all watching, look at this gameplay, man. It still looks crisp. And this is me playing on PC, 4K, 60 frames. Man, I would really love for them to bring this back to Xbox, for give them the frame patch, the FPS boost, because I feel like this series could need it, or a resolution boost, or just come out with a collection. But overall, it's been a great time, man. Other than that, I don't know why I didn't click before, but I noticed that I could download FIFA. So I was spending some time in FIFA, man. And oh man, really? Yeah, I love FIFA, man. When I get into sports games, typically the ones that I pick is either FIFA or 2K. And most of the time, I'll end up taking a break in between them. So it's for example, I'm cool on 2K. Like, I don't want to play 2K again for a while. Last time I played 2K for real was like 16, 17. And, I had a good time with it and everything else. But it just fell off for me. It became too samey and everything else. You're grinding for the same things over and over again. Nothing carries over. You're doing the same thing every year. It just kind of gets old. And I mean, playing those games online is cool and all, but I'm not consistent in sports games enough to be good at them. Be good at them like some people are. So it gets me frustrated when you get in there and take a loss. It's like, God damn it, no, I got to lose. But if there's a game if there's a sports game that I'd have to pick that I really wouldn't care about losing or winning, it's FIFA. Just because it's more so very dependent on you. It's more of an open field, defending. You have more options. And soccer is always spoken to me more as those overseas call it, my family calls it, my German side, football. It just speaks to me more than.
Check me out, man.
It just speaks to me more. Football. It's football. Football. Hey, that's how my mom says it to me.
Okay.
But
all right.
But I mean football. If you would have just said it like that, but I call it football.
Soccer.
It just sounds better.
Soccer. Okay. We've got real football here.
Hey, and Marion, for sure, man. If you want to hook up on some FIFA, I don't know if it's crossplay with PC and Xbox or whatever other console. But if we can hop on to play, I'm down to play, man. But other than that, man, that's been my week. That's what I've been getting into. Hopefully, the gameplay in the background smooth for y'all. And other than that, man, Pong, how has your week been, man?
Hey man, it's been busy. Work is getting crazy, and I say that every week, but it's just getting crazier. So I got a lot of hours in. I haven't been able to hop on as much as far as gaming goes as I normally would, and I think that's going to kind of be my life here from here on out. But that's okay. That's real life comes first. But man, just go back to your Dead Space comments. For anybody that's got a Series X, again, you were talking about how the graphics hold up pretty well. Man, the auto HDR on the series console, man, takes that game to another level.
Really?
And if they eventually do get the FPS boost done to this, which needs to happen,
it needs to happen.
Unless they're going to do, I think EA is probably planning on doing a remaster, just like they're doing with Mass Effect. I have a feeling that that's their plan because a lot of people have been clamoring for it. But anyways, if you got series consoles, Dead Space is absolutely fantastic with the auto HDR. It's one of the best examples of auto HDR taking an older game and doing something special with it. So definitely go check that out, guys. Otherwise, for myself this week, I actually hopped back into Night City, man. Cyberpunk.
Oh, yeah.
Back on it. Back on it. So I'm now over 180 hours into Cyberpunk. I took a long break from it. There's been, I think, 3 patches, I want to say, since the last time I played it. And again, I wasn't somebody who was experiencing a lot of issues. I love the game. I had 100 and whatever 60 hours into it. But getting back into Night City again. I don't care what anybody says. Don't let it, if you guys are waiting for the next gen patch, I get it. That's fine. Just don't forget about this game. And I'm sure that you're probably not going to be able to, because I think they're going to drop it in the Game Pass when the next gen patch comes out.
That would be dope.
I think they're going to do it because they need to reignite it again. But this game is so freaking good, man. Like now that I got back into it again, I'm like, God, I just love it. I just love it. And again, for me, I've got that many hours into it, and I'm only like a third of the way through the main missions. Okay,
but just not to interrupt, but I like to put this out there because I feel like it's important. Just because this should kind of give people an understanding of what the impact that we as gamers have, especially within each other. Pong, if it wasn't for you, man, I would have skipped out on Cyberpunk, because I was interested in it or whatever the case, and like we had talked about in the background, between you and Tempest, y'all were so involved in it, and it was so deep into it, that, and I was watching y'all's gameplay and stuff like that I was like, man, I might as well just commit, boom, and I played it and I loved it. Again, regardless of how everybody else feels about it, if you're waiting on it, great, but do not forget about this game. It is an excellent title. Don't let nobody scare you off of it. The story is amazing. If you're into first person RPGs, bro, they did an excellent job as far as the story goes. It pulls on heartstrings. And look, you put 100 and something hours in. I put in, I believe it was right around 50 hours, and I got the perfect ending.
Right.
So and it's just like, and I wasn't trying to, and that's what makes it, and that's the other thing that makes it great, because not everybody had that experience. So, but that's what makes it great. Everybody has a different experience, and being able to jump into something and see that influence is great, man. But anyway.
Absolutely. No. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. And the other good point that you just made is, okay, so I've got 180 hours in, I'm a third of the way through the story. You put 50 some hours into it and beat multiple endings and had, whatever, a great experience with it. You can play this game how you want to. And that's the other beautiful part. So if you want to, again, I've spent so many hours just driving around, listening to music, taking in all the sights in this game, literally being a sightseeing kind of person, just driving around and just enjoying what was on my screen. That's a lot of hours. And then you could probably put in about 20 hours in photo mode for me too as well. I don't know how long it is actually is, but again, just taking pictures. But again, you can experience a game like Cyberpunk how you want to, and that's like one of the best things about the game, and that's from the core all the way out, right? So again, the core of the game, you can build your character, and you can create a build that you want to play, and there's so many different ways to do that you can really, from an RPG standpoint, it is a game that you can create a character that you actually enjoy playing, and you're not really limited. Like, there's so many different mixes and matches you can make within the builds. That you can find a play style that all of a sudden halfway through the game you don't like anymore, and you can go back, and they actually lowered the respec costs now too, so the respec cost isn't that big. So you can go back and redo your whole character all over again, and to fit what you just found that you like to play with. So again,
that's dope.
Sorry, I know a lot of shows aren't hitting on Cyberpunk anymore, but this is what you get at Living Splitscreen, man.
Talk about gaming, man.
That's right. These are games, man. This is fun. So love hopping back into Cyberpunk. I tried out some of the FPS boost games as well. I tried out Assassin's Creed Unity. Fantastic. I tried out the Tomb Raider games that are now FPS boosted. Wow. Just crazy good. So I cannot wait to hop in the back of those. I was just trying them out to see how it felt. Brand new game. Deus Ex. I hopped into Deus Ex as well. everybody, if you are a sci-fi lover, right, you like that cyberpunky kind of sci-fi, Deus Ex Mankind, I know it got panned a little bit. People didn't necessarily love it. At 60 frames now, that game is absolutely gorgeous and plays so smooth. And it is a game not to be missed if you're looking for something to hop into. I know we got plenty of content, and I know it's an old game, but guess what? If you like going back to stuff, go back to Deus Ex. If you have the opportunity with the FPS boost, it's a whole new experience, and it's well worth it. So that's another one I hopped into this week.
Excellent, man. And before we move forward, I do want to see, because I saw Marion going into it, and also talking about it earlier. Marion, I've also made you a mod, just because I know you're doing some things with us in the background. But we do have 2 games that we're giving away this morning. Also, it's going to be Outlast 2 and, just for May the 4th that has passed, Battlefront 2, the new one. For those who are interested, stay tuned in. Get your friends in here. Get your mama in here. Get your stepfather in here so he can get that code, man. Maybe even if it's your baby sister, go get her. Tell her to turn it on her phone, her tablet, whatever the case. Put in YouTube, type in Living Split Screen. We're going to be the first thing that pops up, guaranteed. And come get this code, man. Marion, again, much love. Pong, man, it sounds like you've had a solid week. And look, man, we got a few things that we're pretty passionate about this week. I feel like it's going to be more or less about gaming and everything, but we do want to start off with upcoming games. What is going on, man? Let's lead off into this topic. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. If you want to go ahead and get started on that, man. So are you ready?
Yeah, hold on for just one second.
Not a problem.
Computer blipped out for a second.
Here we go.
So I got to get back to my spot. Guys, there got to be ads on everything, people. I hate ads. I should get ad blocker.
Ad blocker.
Whatever. Yeah.
Pop up ad blocker. Hey, ad blocker. If y'all need somebody,
we're looking for sponsors.
We're looking for sponsors. If you need somebody to talk about your new ad blocker, we're here.
Right? Exactly.
This is the space that you can have your promotion.
All right. So where are we? We are, what is the week? God,
we are in
crazy,
man. May.
Yeah, we're in May. I know that.
Move some stuff over. We're in May. We're in week of the.
So 8th. We're coming up on the week of the 10th, right?
Okay.
So starting. Yeah, but we're at the 8th. So yeah, no, we're good. We're good. So what do we got? So Hood's Outlaws and Legends just dropped. I know some people have already checked this out. I know I'm looking to check it out. But I don't know if I'm going to drop the funds on it. I think this game might wind up into Game Pass at some point. We'll see how it sells. I know it's not very expensive. I know they got a couple editions. I think the lowest edition is like $30. Right. So it's a good price point. And I know some people, I think Mav played it yesterday, right. And Lupa played it, and Psychonauts played it. So I think I've heard some good stuff that it is a fun game with friends, which is, I think, we talked about it a little bit, Steele, I think, and I think that was going to be our opinion on it, was that this was a good game to play with friends, but we didn't know if it was going to be lost in the shuffle when you've got a Resident Evil Village dropping, when you've got people looking forward to Mass Effect coming out, and you've already got things like Second Extinction, which are in Game Pass. But Hood Outlaws and Legends looks fun. I think I might give it a go at some point. I just don't know if I'm going to pay the full price for it. Of course, we have Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance was a surprise drop this week. So I should mention that nobody knew this was really coming out. So it kind of snuck in there. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance is the original game. Now, I have not had a chance to really watch any videos on what they did to the version that they just dropped for all the current consoles and last gen consoles. So I don't know how it plays. I know this is not like a remake in any way, shape, or form. I think the graphics are pretty much the same as they were. So it is a dated game, but man, anybody who played the Dark Alliance games back in the day, the Baldur's Gate series, knows that this is a fantastic title. If you like the older classic games and you're looking for one to go back to, it's got the top-down view. It's more action based. It's not necessarily like a turn based style. It's more action based. But
Right.
these games were classics back in the day. They still sell for a ton of money because they are
Oh,
actually
okay.
rare on the PS2 side. So
I remember
Dark
you saying that.
Alliance dropped, yeah, and this is not to be confused with the new Dark Alliance that is dropping later.
That's Dungeons and Dragons, right? No.
Is Dungeon? Yeah, Baldur's Gate is for. It's all part of the same family,
Okay,
right?
okay,
It's all
okay.
part of the same family. But the new Dark Alliance is coming later. That is with the it's Forgotten Realms
Okay.
is where it comes from.
Got you.
But that focuses on something different than the Baldur's Gate series does. So
Got you.
same family, just
Different story.
they're jump starting
part.
it with a new story.
Okay,
Correct,
okay.
exactly. So,
Excellent.
anyways, great game. Resident Evil Village. Let's touch on it a little bit. Steel, obviously
Do
a
it.
big release. Everybody's hyped about it. I'm seeing nothing but good things for the most part coming from this game. Now, caveat with this is I am not going to be purchasing it at full price. I did, however, play through the demo and I've got some thoughts on it
Okay.
because I freely admit that I am a scaredy cat the older I get, right? So the older I get, the less I have enjoyed horror games. Okay. That's just me. I could not play Resident Evil 7 at all. I got 45 minutes in and shut it off and got rid of it, deleted it off my hard drive. so I do not do well with horror. Now, psychological stuff like The Medium, I can do. You give me tons of guns and weapons and stuff, I can play those too. So that's why the reason why I preface this conversation with that is just so you know where I'm coming from. I played the demo of Village and actually liked it and enjoyed it and got through it. Okay. Actually, I'm looking like I'm looking like some of the Wolfmen from that demo. Yeah, man. I need to fix this stuff, man. I promise you guys next week I'm gonna have a haircut and I'll be clean shaven, or not clean shaven, but I'll be trimmed. Look forward to that. Episode 8. Pong Soul haircut. That's what we're gonna
Pong
title
Soul's haircut.
Right, exactly. No, so anyways, so again, Village, I played it. I actually liked it. Now I know there's been some of the criticism I've been hearing is people wanted it to stay like 7 with the much more horror aspect, the real scares, because some people really enjoy that. So I totally understand, and I get it. The developers came out from Capcom and said that they purposely toned it down a little bit for Village, and it got some people's feathers ruffled. And I understand if you are a true horror fan and you loved where 7 was from that aesthetic, from the jump scares to the really dark, creepy aspects, I get it. I will tell you this as somebody, again, from the other side of things that doesn't necessarily love that. I can see why they did this because it's going to open up to even a bigger audience. Resident Evil 7 was huge. It was a huge success for Capcom, especially since they moved it to the first person aspect and they were looking to energize that franchise. They did it, right? They killed it. And I think this one is going to take it to the next level because I think there are going to be more people that are going to be willing to try this one than 7. Because I know there's a lot of people like me out there that just aren't about all of it, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is a good point for the game. And again, I'm not going to take away from anybody who wishes they would stay the horror. I would never blast Resident Evil. I would just say it's just not a game for me. Right. It's just not a game for me. But with what they've done with this one, I think it is now a game for me. And I think there's going to be a lot of people like myself who do jump into this one. Now, I heard, I think Jez, I heard on Xbox 2 yesterday, him and Randall Thor, shout out to those guys. I think Jez did say that there is one section that does bring back that 7 feeling where it's like, what is going on? And it's pretty, it's very dark and very horror-esque. So, again, I didn't get that part in the demo. So, we'll see once I get the full release if I could make it through that part. But, again, I just think overall, I think it was a good idea. Capcom is in making games for the masses.
Yes.
And I think it's a good thing for Capcom if they get more people involved. Again, I wouldn't slight them if they decided to continue down the other way and just say, nope, we're just making really, really hardcore horror stuff now from here on out with the Resident Evil series. I would not fault them in the least. I just think from a business aspect and from what they're trying to do, I think this was a good idea. And I actually really did like the demo. Gave me Resident Evil 4 vibes.
Okay.
Some people have said that it's a mixture of all the different Resident Evils. They pull in a little something, but menu felt really
Right.
the menu system felt really good. It felt like going back home again to the old style Resident
Okay.
Evils. It was really nice, and obviously just the overall feel. I felt like they captured 4 in a lot of ways, and so for me that was cool because 4 is probably my favorite. Code Veronica is probably up there. It's
Okay.
probably neck and neck between those two. But I think they did a nice job. The graphics are absolutely phenomenal, gorgeous. That RE engine is wow.
They put it
I
to
mean,
work.
that is oh my god, man, it is crazy good
That's
looking.
dope.
So yeah, so if anybody's on the fence with Resident Evil, go check out the demo. I think the demo is the demo still live?
Yeah, I actually, I'm not completely sure
you-
about.
Did you touch it?
I have not touched on the demo.
Okay,
I'm completely uninterested. But I do have the demo playing in the background for those who are watching. But since we're talking about Resident Evil real quick, as before we move forward. Again, like I stated on last week, I'm not particularly interested in Resident Evil just because I like the more third person aspect of it. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be interested in it or I wouldn't play it. If it came into Game Pass or something, I'd try it out then, but I'm not willing to fork over the money for it. Especially not at $70. I just don't care about it enough to spend that money on it. Or I'm not a Resident Evil player at the end of the day. I do like what they've done with it. I do like the story. I do like the fact that this game does look beautiful. Absolutely, and it looks. Brother, it looks crazy. They did really well. Again, bringing more life to that RE engine, like you were saying, because before when they were in that third person aspect, it kind of seemed like they were running out of space with the RE engine, like they might have needed to do something different. But with this, bringing it to first person, it feels like they've brought more life again into it, and I feel like that's what's important. It's getting a lot of praise. Again, which is very essential if we want to keep this Resident Evil series alive. Not everything can remain the same. Again, that's why I don't feel any way about it not being third person. It's just not particularly for me, other than not really being a scary game kind of guy. But again, it varies. I've played Dead Space, I've played Hellblade, I've played there's other scary games. I've played Fear. You know what I mean? There's other scary games that I have played. So I'm not gonna use that as an excuse or whatever. I'm just not genuinely interested in jumping in. But I hope everybody that is jumping in is having an excellent time. I know one of the bigger things like that was just crazy. The guy just came out of the wheat fields.
Yeah.
But what's crazy for me is just again the love and the appreciation that the title is getting. Because people are saying, man, it feels good to have a title come out and it doesn't need anything. There's no bugs that anybody's really talking about. There's nothing that's game breaking. And everything seems like a complete package. And that's more so what I'm paying attention to. That's what I'm excited about. Because I feel like we've gotten away from that. And it needs to be something on the forefront. It feels good when we get full titles out. So yeah, man, that's it for that.
Agree, man. No, good thoughts right there, brother. Because again, Resident Evil is one of the pillar franchises in video game history if you go back and look at it. So it's good to see it around, and it's good to see it come back to life again after some stumbles with 5 and stuff like that, where people weren't too happy about it and it was unsure where it was going to go. It's always great to see one of these classic series continue to live on, and they are doing a fantastic job. So I'm really excited about that. So let's keep going here. We got Destiny 2. All you Destiny 2 players out there. I know there's still millions of you out there. Props to all of you who have stuck by this nonstop. Destiny 2 Season of the Splicer. I don't have a whole lot to say on this one. Steele, you got anything to add? I know you play some Destiny.
As a Destiny player, I've been off and on. I haven't played Destiny for real in at least 2 years going on.
All right. So you go back,
But I mean, I am off and on of it because I enjoy the PvP aspect of it. Thoroughly enjoy. I still feel like, other than Halo, it's one of the first-person shooters that has unmatched gameplay. There's nothing comparative to it. And there's a reason why people keep going back. There's a reason why every time that you do go back, you get invested and involved. And I feel like it's because of the gameplay loop, man. The guns feel tight. All the abilities feel tight. You can constantly feel the adjustments that they make, whether it's good or negative. Season of the Splicer is going to give me a reason to jump back in,
Okay.
which is exciting. Again, it's a PvP game. I'm always going to jump back into it for the PvP aspect, just because I enjoy being competitive. So again, hey, if anybody's interested, man, I'm on PC. Really, what I'm waiting for is them to enable the crossplay between PC and console. Right. Again, I don't have my Series X yet, or the Series S, and I'm not going to get the Series S. I'm going to get a Series X. That's just me. But I'm really waiting for that crossplay to come back, so that not just cross save, so that I can play on PC and just have that open space to really team up with anybody who wants to play, whether Xbox or PlayStation. And I just feel like that it's going to add more longevity to the game and also open it up more and just give an overall better experience, especially with everybody being able to have access to 60 frames at bare minimum. And now also 120 frame option. So that's what I'm excited as far as that. As far as that goes, it just seems like we're getting closer and closer to them enabling crossplay. So
right. No, that'll be great for the entire community once they enable that crossplay, because again, that's what it does. It just opens it up and gives you a bigger base to play with, and obviously makes it easier for friends to connect and all that good stuff. So there's absolutely nothing but benefits from crossplay, despite what Sony thinks.
Yes.
So anyways,
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we might touch on that one. Assassin's Creed Valhalla Wrath of the Druids DLC drops. I know there's still a lot of people playing Assassin's Creed. It's amazing. That was like the game for like ever, because everybody was looking for something to kind of show off some of the new consoles. And of course, Assassin's Creed itself is just such a gigantic franchise at this point. But it's funny how you just don't hear about it anymore as we've gone along here. But it's good to see some DLC dropping. I know I'm going to be hopping back into it at some point. I think I've got 60 hours into it. But again, it's just Assassin's Creed is a time sink. It is one of those things where oh boy, there's just no avoiding it. Especially with the way that they've taken the franchise. It's always been big, but obviously Odyssey took it to another level. I still have yet to finish Odyssey. I think I've got 90 hours in. I know Lupa. I think she might be sitting in the chat. I know she's got something crazy into that game. I don't know how. It's hundreds of hours into Odyssey, and you can do it. But I felt like that Valhalla, people love it, love the setting, but at the same time, I think some people get a little drained from it. It is a big game, and it's not like you can skip. You can plow through it, right? You can push through it, but you're going to be missing out on a ton of the side stories and the side action, and leveling up and powering up your character takes going to those side missions. So you do have to do some of it. So, but good to see they're getting a DLC again. When I hop back into it, we'll see how far I get. I might pick up the DLC. I did not, pick up the season pass or anything like that. So, but this looks cool. I'm always big into druids and the Celtic mythology. So it might be something that I do pick up and try. So that comes out on May 13th. Then we have Monster Harvest. Any ideas on this one? Steel, it's a PC.
Monster Harvest, I'm not completely sure.
Okay, no big deal.
It says it's made by Merge Games, developer Maple Powered Games. I'm not completely sure about Monster Harvest, but with those who are familiar with Monster Harvest, check it out. It looks like it's like a Pokemon.
It's like a Pokemon-esque kind of game.
Or maybe like a Bugsnax kind of game.
Jesus.
Per se, I don't know.
Bugsnax reference. That doesn't happen.
There we go.
Oh, Jesus.
But that's what it looks. I'm not completely sure though.
Okay. All right. Before we leave, another PC release that comes out May 14th. Famicom Detective Club, the girl who stands behind for Switch on May 14th. Famicom Detective Club, The Missing Heir for Switch on May 14th. So it sounds like this is part of a series. Okay. And then we've got, of course, May the 14th, the next gigantic release for a lot of people. Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Talk to him.
Ooh, I have been waiting for this one for a long time. And I'm still on the fence because I am a budget gamer. For anybody who knows, I do not have the ability to go buy every single game that comes out. I wish I did. I just don't, especially after last year. It's killed things
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, look at things.
So right. So I gotta be careful. There are so many games coming out in the next 2 months. It's insane. So I've been waiting for Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I am probably 70% sure I'm going to pick it up at this point,
Okay.
but I don't know because I know for a fact, it's going to go on sale at some point.
Okay.
And we'll probably already get a discount up front through Xbox
Yeah.
Ultimate, Game Pass Ultimate. But I also know that probably 6 months to a year, it's going to drop into EA Play, which is a part of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. This is where Game Pass comes into play. For people who still wonder how this this plays out in somebody's head who cannot afford every single game that comes out. So for me, I have to weigh my options and I have to know I don't have FOMO much anymore. Mass Effect is tickling it, right? Fear of missing out,
Right.
just because I've been waiting for this to happen for so long. So I am on the fence, but at the same time, for me, with Game Pass Ultimate, knowing that it is eventually going to be in EA Play, I will eventually have the ability to get it through there. Has me questioning whether or not I need to spend my money there or put it towards a different game like Biomutant, Mech
Okay.
Warrior 5, Mercs, etc.
Yes.
Right? The games I know that won't necessarily don't have a big chance of coming to Game Pass, this
Right.
is where the decision making process goes. So, but I know a lot of people have been waiting on Mass Effect Legendary Edition. We just got news this week. They put out the performance marks that they're looking for on the consoles, which was also quite interesting. So
Yes.
we dive there for a second. So the performance marks, for let's try PS4 Pro is I believe 4K. God dang it!
I'm about to pull it up here in a
You're
second.
gonna pull it up there in a second. Anyways, for PS5, they are shooting for the frame rate mode is going to be 1440p and 60 frames per second. The performance mode with the graphical mode, I should say, is going to be 4K 60. For Series X, it is going to be for the frame rate mode. It's going to be 1440p and 120. So that difference right there is huge. I cannot wait to try the 120. That is a big deal. For the graphical side of things, it's 4K 60 for the Series X. And then do you have them up still?
Yes. So we got for PlayStation 4, if you're favoring quality, for PlayStation 4, you're going 30 frames, 1080p. PlayStation 4 Pro, 30 frames, 4K. PS5 is 60 frames at 4K. It's up to Xbox One is 30 frames, 1080. Xbox One X is 30 at 4K. And then the Series X is up to 60 frames at 4K. And then if you're going to favor frame rate, though, this is where we find some dividends. And it's kind of interesting. PlayStation 4, which is still crazy that they're going to be able to do this on the PlayStation 4, up to 60 FPS, 1080. Which is dope for those who haven't jumped into the series, absolutely. Want the update. That's still dope. 1080p on the 1440p on the PlayStation 4 Pro at 60. The PS5 up to 1440p 60. Okay. All right. Xbox One 60 frames 1080p. The One X again 1440 60 FPS. That's also for the Series S. And then on the Series X, this is where things kind of change a little bit. You're getting 1440p at 120 frames.
Right, exactly. And this goes back, I know, right? And a lot of people thought it was the tools out the gate. But again, what this actually is all that backwards compatibility stuff that Microsoft has been doing, Xbox has been doing for years. This goes back to last gen when they were pushing with the One X the 120 frames. And there was a lot of people that questioned why they pushed the developers to make sure the games were open for that when that console was not didn't have the ability to really do 120. Right. And this is why, because these games are based upon the last gen, right? So these cross-gen titles like this. So when a developer goes in to make a game, unlock frame rates from last gen, right? Open,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. What happens is it actually, the Series X, it allows the Series X to take advantage of its newfound power in this next gen and then push the game as hard as it can push it. Whereas with the PlayStation side of things, they are locked into place. And that's why you're starting to see some of these differences with some of these games coming out now at this point. It doesn't necessarily have, this is not an indication of the tool set yet.
Mhm.
This is an indication of
Backwards
Microsoft and
compatible?
Xbox's forward thinking
Yes.
from last gen, looking ahead to now. And that's why we are seeing this difference. It is a great option to have. More options, the better when it comes to this stuff. I am so happy that we have this ability, and I can't wait to try this out. But obviously, again, just the game itself, Mass Effect Legendary, massive. You know what? Porsche Power, Ains, he's in the chat right now. He dropped by.
Facts.
Buddy, you and I both know Mass Effect 1 is the GOAT. So,
Oh
period,
gosh.
point blank.
Hey,
And
don't
we're not
worry.
going to start that
Hey, don't
discussion,
worry.
but
I'll find out next
you
Friday
are gonna find
whether
out.
Mass
You are
Effect
gonna
1 or 2 is the GOAT. Because unlike most people, apparently, I am not familiar with the Mass Effect series. Again, it came out in a time where I was a
Crazy,
heavy
dude.
multiplayer
crazy.
gamer. I never considered
You are
even
so lucky.
playing Mass Effect. So the fact that I'm going to be able to go back and play it, not only updated, the gameplay is updated, not only graphically looking better, but also getting the frame boost. Again, I'm on PC, so I'm gonna get that regardless. But having those options, that the console players having these options is amazing, and it's a feat within itself.
Correct.
I'm excited about it just because I keep hearing people say how great the series is. So now to be finally where I'm at a point where I'm going back and reaching into games that I haven't played. I was actually considering, again, because that talk about Mass Effect that jumped up before the Legendary Edition was announced. I was already considering going back, but people were like, oh, well, the gameplay isn't all that great. So it's like, well, if the gameplay wasn't that great, then why do y'all like 2 so much? You know what I'm saying? So that whole conversation starts. So hey, look out for that review. I'm Steel Rain's gonna be doing a review on Mass Effect. Probably.
You are so
probably
lucky,
not for
brother. I am so jealous of you that you're going to experience Mass Effect for the first time. I still can't
Yes.
believe you haven't. But
Yeah, I mean,
the fact that you get to experience it for the first time in the best light possible,
yeah. It's exciting,
you are
man.
lucky.
It's
You are lucky,
it's
man.
exciting. I'm ready for it. Again, it's all based off of this is another. It's another one of those games where all the hype that I have for it is built off of other gamers who have had this experience, who are the last time I heard people be this passionate about a series was Breath of the Wild. Before that it was Gears. Before that it was Halo. Like, there's only so many series that get this interaction with people, and it's usually me, and it's usually they're coming from a good place. So I'm excited to jump into it. Man, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time.
It's going to be beautiful for you, man. Again, this is one of those franchises that in the history of the industry is one of those ones that you absolutely, if you are a gamer, if you love in any way, shape, or form sci-fi, you absolutely have to give Mass Effect the series a
Facts.
go because it is one of the greatest stories. I'm still mad they never turned it into a movie. I think it could be one of the greatest sci-fi movie trilogies ever made if they did it right. It is just one of those. It is BioWare at its peak. And creating something special and memorable. And again, we can have talks about which one is the greatest of all time. We can have talks about 3 not necessarily living up to everybody's expectations, all that stuff. But if you take the trilogy as a whole, and again, Andromeda is not a part of this conversation. Okay, that just avoid that thing. But anyways, the trilogy as a whole, 1, 2, and 3 is just some of the greatest experiences that you can have in video gaming. Again, that's a personal opinion. All opinions are subjective and arbitrary, but at the same time, you can talk to, like you said, Steel, you've heard this from so many gamers. Yeah, exactly. And most gamers who are into this type of game will tell you that it is one of the greatest trilogies of all time. Fantastic. So big release. And I'm talking, the more I talk about it, Steel, and the more I hear it, you talk about, the more I'm more likely to buy it.
Can't you create your own character, right? You create your own character, right?
Yeah, you create your own character, and it carries. Yeah, it's Shepherd, but you can customize your Shepherd.
Okay,
so your
Shepherd
could be different from everybody else,
and then
you can carry Shepherd carries over from game to game. So if
Okay,
you
which
played
is
number
another.
one, yep, it carries over to number two. Some of your decisions,
Okay.
are reflected in the beginning of number two as you roll into that. So yes, another cool aspect of this game.
Which is a major reasons why I was highly considering jumping into it, because I like that. I love when games do that.
Oh yeah,
When they give you a series, it kind of what, again, I mean, that's why we play these series, right? You get this connection to the main character of that line, and then you want to follow the game all the way through to see where the story goes. And so
right.
to hear that you could not only make your own character, but also the decisions that you make within the game carry over from game to game is amazing to me, because the fact that they were doing that, BioWare was doing this then,
Mhm.
shows you where games could go now, especially with all the technology that we've have, especially with all the AI improvements that they're having, the Nemesis systems like the Nemesis system, that are just evolving the constant, our constant interactions with the world,
Yeah,
that we delve into. It's an amazing thing, man.
it really is.
And you see people in the chat, you know what I mean? They're saying it too. Like, we got people that, Joe Dumbo, he's pre-ordered it already. You know what I'm saying? So
There you go,
people
Joe.
are hype. You know what I'm saying? And I'm hype. I'm hype based off of everybody else's hype, and I'm ready to find out whether Mass Effect 1 or 2 is the true Mass Effect God. So
And thank you, Dragonheart Yobi, for correcting me. He says all of your decisions made, even in the
okay.
side missions, the majority of them will be mentioned throughout
Oh
the
damn.
series. I
That's
didn't
dope.
remember it as all, but I obviously believe you, Dragonheart. It's been a long time since I played the Mass Effect series, so thank you for correcting me on that. I appreciate you, brother. If that is the case, that's even. Again, I remember it being a lot, and it affected a ton if you did it that way. And again, you don't have to; you can play them out of order if you want to. But again, that's the cool part. If you take that route and play 1 through 3 in chronological order, then your decisions do carry over. So
Hey,
cool,
okay.
just awesome. Again, the more I talk about it, the more likely I am to buy it.
Excited to get, yeah.
I'm already. Yes, yes. The itch gets stronger and stronger.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I know you will be, man. I can't wait to hear what you think about it. I can't wait.
I'm excited.
Last one for the week, Subnautica comes out on the Switch May 14th. Subnautica is a game that is already released on Xbox and PlayStation. It is finally coming to Switch. Subnautica is a open world action survival type game. Obviously, as you can tell by the name, it takes place mostly underwater. I've delved a little bit into it on PlayStation 4 back in the day. It's a pretty good game if you're into survival games. It's definitely a pretty good game. And they also have DLC coming out, or the next
Same
I
day.
should say the next game, the next expansion, and that is Subnautica Below Zero, coming out on May 14th for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. So again, if you guys are into open world survival games, Subnautica is one to check out. Really good reviews on that game, and it is kind of cool because it is underwater. So the graphics are pretty cool on it too. So actually, for underwater stuff, it looks really good. So that's it for this week in releases. Steel, we just covered everything. Let's see. Yep, we did. So we are
Yeah.
all set to go. Man, 49 minutes already, Steel. And we just talked about the new releases for
Yeah,
the
I
week.
mean, but we were also having good conversation in between. I mean, and again, that's something that I feel like is important to break it up, because I also want to acknowledge the chat.
Yeah, let's see who's in chat, huh?
We're definitely gonna do that, but I just feel like it's important to get these things across, to not only have topics or talk about games or whatever the case might be, but to have actual conversation. Not everything has to be like, oh, we go stop talking. No, we got to move on. Sometimes let's just have a natural conversation. Let's talk about games. We're excited about the games that are upcoming. We're excited about the games that are releasing. And let's have that conversation. I mean,
I still stop talking. Let's move on.
You know what? I quit.
All right, guys. It's no longer split screen.
No, it's just screen. It's just screen now. It's just screen now.
Living screen.
But it's because it's exciting to see when you mention games like Mass Effect, even if it's an older game and it's getting remastered or whatever, however people feel about it, people are in the chat like, man, I'm excited. I pre-ordered. seeing these types of things, this is the whole point of us doing it. You know what I mean? To have these conversations, and I'll dive into this a little bit later, probably as we get towards the end of the show, about after we talk about the other things we'll end up getting into, because that might be what I roll into next. But it's just important to be able to have an open conversation, have an open mind, and just to remember that not everything that happens within our gaming space has to be personal, emotionally driven, and can be subjective. Again, we're all coming from different opinions, different spaces. Not everybody has to like what you like, and you don't have to like what everybody else likes. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But again, that's where that goes from there. Now, no, it is not the Ready Player One. This is the two-player podcast, Psycho. But yeah, man, just to acknowledge some people in the chat, because guess what? I am getting ready to drop the Star Wars Battlefront 2 code in the chat within the next 30 seconds. Y'all be ready.
Anybody with a series console, try out
120
Battlefront 2 Star Wars. Oh God, and it looks so good. The graphics, everything about it looks fantastic. It is crispy, and 120 feels immaculate. Yes. I absolutely love playing Battlefront 2 again. And guess what? You can find games all the time. The servers are pretty full, which is crazy. That game made a huge comeback after how it started out. Fantastic game. So again, dropping a code for Battlefront 2. I believe this is on Xbox, correct?
Yes, it is on. It is on Xbox, and at any moment now, like right now, I'm gonna pretend that I'm hitting a button as I enter this code. Excuse the sweat under my armpits, because I'm energized this morning. There goes that code. Y'all better get in that chat. Get it. Tell your mom, your dad, your sister, your step pops, whoever, that Star Wars Battlefront 2 just went live on the Living Split Screen Morning Show. Y'all hit that like button, share it out, tell your best friends about it, man. And let's get the people involved. I want to see more people get involved with the chat. Y'all are already super active, man. It doesn't get any better than this. This is why we do it. Look, ATL just hopped into the chat. Marion the Mad's here, been here. Boogeyman, Psycho, Stubbs, Dragonheart Yobi, as my guy Mag says, Joe Dunmore. Then we got G-Bone.
That was pretty close, actually.
It was close. I tried. It was close. Muppet, Stubbs, again, I believe I said that. Trevor, let's keep going up the list. Trevor. Who else is here? Hey, if you're here, type what's up in the chat. Let us know how you're feeling about this show. As we get into the first hour.
Francois is here. Stanley Francois. I love that name.
Francois. I like it because I can add that extra schwa at the end. You know, Stanley Francois. Anyway, hopefully you like that, Stanley. But anyway, that's just the first code of this morning. We got one more code coming. And it's going to be, I'll let you guys know right now, Outlast 2. Make sure that y'all are tuned in. Again, share it out, hit that like button, and pay attention to the chat. Again, if you have not got that Battlefront 2 code for Xbox, I'm going to hit it one more time and put it in the chat. Make sure y'all grab it. As we move forward, Pong, what do you want to get into now, man? I know you were talking about some reviews. Resident Evil just came out. Speaking of reviews, it has some solid reviews. I believe Resident Evil right now is sitting at about a 85, 86 Metacritic. Let me type that in. Let me check on that real quick, like.
Yeah, no, it's definitely getting good reviews. I think it was sitting at 84 or 85. I think you were correct about that.
Personally, I don't care about Metacritic. Again,
no, neither do I. But it is what it is.
And I do kind of want to lead up with that real quick. Again, let me show you guys this real quick so you can see Metacritic's. It got it at 85. Look, man, I just want to kind of get this off my chest, and I'm going to constantly reiterate this before Pong gets into we'll say it's a rant, but it might not be. He might be feel a little chill.
Let's get some ideas.
But I know he feels passionate about what he's about to get into. So as I get him hyped up with this, look, Metacritic for me personally is extremely irrelevant to me. I do not care about what Metacritic thinks. I like to see the same way that I go on Amazon or I go on Best Buy or I go on Walmart. I like to look at the reviews and get people's opinions because that's what it's for. Let me spell that out. OPION. I spelled it wrong. Sorry. Excuse me, because I can't spell opinions right now because I'm trying to talk at the same time. I sound like a fucking idiot, but it's okay. It's
That's
okay.
good shit, man.
Opinions. Y'all know how to spell opinions. If you don't know how to spell opinions, I'll spell it for you later. I'll spell it in the chat if you really don't think I can spell it. Look, it is all based off opinions. And I don't know about y'all, but I have been gaming for long enough to know what game I'm going to like or what game I'm not going to like, what I'm interested in or what I'm not interested in, what I'm feeling or what I'm not feeling, based off of whatever review that I look at. I look at gameplay, I look at written reviews, I look at, especially if it's a game that I feel like I'm interested in, but I'm not sure. Because typically, games that I'm interested in, I buy immediately, unless it's in Game Pass, because then I don't have to buy it. But typically, just the same way I did with Outriders, the demo convinced me to buy the game. And I bought it on PC. Yeah, I could have played it on Game Pass, but guess what? I bought it on PC because I believed in the title. Now I feel kind of whatever about it, but it is what it is. I mean, I can't help that. That's something completely different. Again, I made the constructive decision to say, hey, I'm invested in it. I like the gameplay. And it's the same thing with any other game. The scores and reviews and whatever else is all based off of personal opinion. And if you don't have thick enough skin to deal with the opinion or deal with these scores, then maybe you shouldn't be in this area. And you have to face that is okay. But we, as gamers, have to stop taking Metacritic so serious. The reason I say that is because devs, companies are using Metacritic as a metric to pay people more money, brother. So y'all can sit here and completely bomb a title, and guess what? You're gonna end up messing with somebody's pockets because the game didn't do well enough. Because you want to get your little hype train behind you and really downplay something that maybe didn't need all the downplay, or y'all didn't agree with in review. So you want to put all this smoke behind how you feel, because nobody could be subjective anymore. I do not get that. I don't get it. We are in a gaming space to be constructive within each other and speak our opinions, speak our minds. And again, I cannot say it enough, to be objective. We deal with enough objectivity in our own life. Why is it that you do the same thing in this space? And I know why. It's because you spend money, you're invested in your services, you're invested in your platform, and that's cute. But at the same time, if you're gonna call yourself a gamer, you cannot sit here and be like, oh, I didn't buy it because the Metascore was trash. If you use Metascores to determine what game you're gonna buy or not, I cannot take you seriously. Now, if you told me you looked at a review, you looked at some gameplay, and you made your own educated decision dependent on how you feel about games, what you like about gaming, and what you are into, I can take that 100% serious. Everything else is opinions, and y'all have to understand that. But now, Pong, now that I've hyped you up, man, we were talking in the background a little bit, and me messing up, me spelling opinions. Hopefully they're talking some smack about that in the chat.
Okay, I put it in there for everybody. So
Perfect. I might even drop the web definition in there, just so we have all the all the platforms crossed. But now that I've hyped you up, man, and got you, I'm not gonna say I got you riled up, but put some energy in there. We talked a little bit in the background about how you were kind of feeling about reviews, and you had an idea.
Yeah.
What you thinking, man?
So, man, so this topic came up this week, and it's kind of an interesting topic because, obviously been gaming for a long time, 40 plus years now. So I've been through all the stages of gaming, and one of the stages is reviews, and people, it's changed a lot through the decades, right? Back in the day, we used to sit around and wait for a magazine to come out with the reviews, and those reviews were written by people. It was a much smaller, obviously, community. Not really even a community at the time because we didn't have the connection that we do now, per se, with social media, right?
Hold on, real quick, Pong.
Yeah.
Stubbs Gaming has received the Star Wars
Oh,
Battlefront 2 code. Congrats, my guy. You get the live hand claps.
congratulations, Stubbs.
Get that live hand clap, man. That's awesome. That is badass. Marion, again, thank you for that code and for just continuing to show the support. Much love. Again, Pong. Didn't want to interrupt you, but I wanted to make
Oh,
sure
no,
that we
that's
pointed
right.
out that Stubbs got that code.
Absolutely.
Much love.
Absolutely. Of course. No, we got to shout that out. So the point being is that it's changed a lot. And again, we didn't really have a community like we do nowadays, but
Right.
reviews, we used to wait for the magazines, and the
Yes.
magazines were, you
Please.
had maybe, 2 to 3, depending on where you were, depending where you shopped at, 2 to 3 major magazines. We had like Electronic Gaming Monthly, was obviously a huge one at the time.
Mhm.
Right. So the point being is we waited around, and then we would read these reviews. Well, these reviews were done by, professionals, who had been in the gaming space for quite a while. I remember, Game Informer obviously is another big one that came a little bit later, but they usually had people who had been playing games for quite a long time, doing a full review, usually breaking it down by graphics, by gameplay, by music.
Yes.
They would spread it out. So we've
Facts.
seen the evolution of reviews. Okay, I've gotten to the point where in my life where I don't care what somebody else thinks about a game.
Big time.
Like you were just speaking on, again, I don't take Metacritic for anything more than a bunch of words, and to give different perspectives. But I only take the reviews that actually I honestly know the people are being truthful, or they're giving they're known for giving a good opinion on games. Right. That's what I look for now. I look for people who I generally trust to
Facts.
provide this, because again, this is an arbitrary opinion. Okay, this is an arbitrary score. Now, the thing with reviews is we can have discussion of whether or not they're important. Again, for me personally, they're not important in the decision process of whether or not I'm going to actually buy a game. Okay.
Facts. Okay.
It doesn't mean anything. Now, if I'm on the fence with a game, if I'm curious about a game, again, I will go to people that I trust, or people that I
Yes.
like their writing style.
Of course.
I understand, how they play games, because I've read their reviews for a while. So I get a good feeling about where they're at, and they match me in similar style. I look for that to get a good opinion and to say, okay, if I'm on the fence, hey, maybe I do want to try this game out. Right. So that's how I do reviews for me personally. But I still think reviews have an important part in this space. I think there is still important
Yes.
to the gaming industry as a whole. Now, we know for a fact that some devs are paid out based upon Metacritic, right?
Yes.
We know this, that it's in their contracts. And so for them, it's vital, right?
Mhm.
And I think that we need to standardize a review process. Okay.
Yes.
No, I think that we have a rating system right now. We have the ESRB that was created to create ratings
Spit
for every
bars.
game, and it's generally accepted amongst, obviously, across the world.
Facts.
There's different ratings boards for different parts of the world, because obviously different parts of the world view things differently. But again, the point of fact is, the video game, when that all went down and the video game industry had to come up with some type of ratings system, they got together, they created a board. It's a standardized board. It's generally agreed upon. You
Mhm.
don't hear about too many games, developers or publishers coming out and fighting whatever rating they got from the ESRB,
Right.
right? It just doesn't happen very often. So for me, I don't see why we can't come up with a similar standard for reviews. Okay. And this is a thought that's been going through my head all week, actually. I think that there is a big enough pool of reviewers out there right now, and there's
Okay.
a big enough pool of veteran reviewers that have a long standing history within the industry. And you can go back and look at a big body of their work, and you could go ahead and judge them based upon their body of work and come up with a list of people who could become certified reviewers, whatever you want to call it. But again, it would be kind of prestigious for the people who actually do get into this certified group of reviewers.
Mhm.
But what you could do within that group is you could break them down to people who like to play first person shooters, who enjoy first person shooters, people who enjoy RPGs, people who enjoy platformers. You could break it down and get back to the old style of review, where people who enjoyed the games they were reviewing actually gave the reviews, right? And I'm not talking
Okay.
about enjoying that specific game.
Okay.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about everybody giving glowing reviews all the time. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who actually enjoy the style, the type, the genre of game that they're playing, so that when they go into that game review, it's already not a negative, which
Mm-hmm.
I see happening all the time now, right? Because we have all these outlets trying to put out reviews, trying to get the clicks, trying to be, first in line when the reviews need to release on the day that the game is coming out. We see that there are people that are being pushed to review games that don't necessarily enjoy that style of game. It's whoever has the time at that moment,
Yes.
right? Versus back in the day where it was planned out. Okay, so again, Steel, you like first person multiplayer shooters, right? So we're gonna have you review the new Call of Duty. We're gonna have you review the new Battlefield,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're gonna be the man
Right.
for those because you've been playing them for 15, 20 years.
Right.
You know the ins and outs of first person shooters. You know what they're supposed to feel like, all that good stuff. You're going to write there. Me, Pong, you're going to write RPG reviews because
Mm-hmm.
you love RPGs, right? We know that you've been playing them for a long time. I think the point of fact is that we got to find a group and certify a group of reviewers. And I can't believe, honestly, I can't believe since the dev contracts are written like this, that some of them are based upon reviewers, that this hasn't been a push
Yeah.
for something like this to standardize this. But I think you could find a group across the entire globe. Okay. Again, we're now we've got social media. We are now a worldwide community, right? You find people from across the world specialize in certain games who have been writing reviews for a long time. You look at their body of work and you can go ahead and hand select a group of reviewers that review the games coming out, and they would be the certified scores. They would be
Facts.
the ones that dictate the actual, how the devs are paid out if they are based upon that. But they would be a group of reviewers that you could go to as individuals and trust that you were getting a upfront. Again, at the end of the day, it's still going to be an arbitrary opinion. At the end of the day, it's still going to be an arbitrary grade or score or whatever you're going to do, right? It's still going to be opinion based. It does not matter. But if you did this and you knew that you had a group of people that were fair, that were knowledgeable,
Mm-hmm.
that were, again, uh, into whatever game that they were buying, that genre, that style, that they were going to be able to give a actual, a really good look at that game versus a crapshoot of whether or not we've got somebody who hates first person shooters, reviewing Call of Duty. Um, I think that's the direction that this probably needs to go. I think that would probably solidify and give some validation back to reviewers because they've lost a lot. Metacritic has done more to damage the reviewing community than anything else, right? I think
Okay.
Metacritic itself is destroying credibility amongst reviewers. And again, that's not to take away from anybody who does reviews in any way, shape, or form. There's a lot of good people out there. Shout out to Ains and Porsche Power. In the chat,
Excellent
his
reviews.
his site, Season Gaming. Those guys do it the right way.
Iron
They
Lords.
all Iron Lords. Again, we go down the list. We know of these people, but again, the mainstream reviewers, the ones that people wind up finding,
Mm-hmm.
the more casual people who are not a part of our community, who don't seek out real information, they just go to the main sources,
Mm-hmm.
are getting a lot of garbage. They're getting a lot of nonsense when it comes to these reviews. And obviously Metacritic being the main hoarder of all this garbage, because that's where everybody, even the casuals, know Metacritic, just because obviously it's a site that has gotten notoriety because
Yes.
of the fact that it has become such a big part of the conversation everywhere when it comes to scoring, and it's wrong. So again, reviewers, it's always going to be an opinion,
Facts.
but it does have a place. And I think that in order to bring back some credence to what they have to say, to bring back some validity to the review process, I
Mm-hmm.
think certifying a group of people to become actual, again, worldwide certified reviewers, whatever you want to call it, like the ESRB, like the rating boards around the world, I think would go a long way to helping the industry. And I think it's definitely something that should be looked at. And that was just my idea. So that's where
And
I'm at with.
to add on your idea, because what what you was I'm definitely picking up what you were putting down because you had some excellent you definitely had some excellent ideas. I think what would add on to help with that too, man, is the fact if they had something like playtime or something of that matter to
Right.
be added in, something that you can't fake, like because if you faked it or if you tried to pretend or whatever you did, if you weren't able to back up your playtime, we then your credibility as a reviewer would also be taken away, because
Yeah.
I mean if you spend 20-30 hours with the game, I'm pretty sure you understand the basic principle of what the game is. You can give me in at least a small review, and not necessarily, because you can't do a review of a game that you necessarily haven't beaten, but you can give your what's the word for it? Well, you can give like your perspective or your as a certain term that I'm looking for. Let's just say review in progress, or call it review in progress, or don't be so worried about getting the review out day one. If you didn't get the game in time and you don't have enough time to beat the game, and it's your job, the reviewers, to make sure that you get the best possible review out there from your opinion, then don't release it day one. Take
Right.
some extra
Correct.
day, take some extra time, make sure that your review is completely reflects your perspective, and your overall thoughts on the game in total, and then move from there. Because again, I do agree, you cannot overall review a game if you have not beaten it. People have gotten three-fourths through a game, and then at the end of the game there's a game breaking bug, but they're giving it 90s. And it's like, that's not a 90. You can't get to the end of the if I get to the end of the game and I can't finish because the game keeps crashing, that's not a 90. It's a 70 or whatever the grade. It takes marks off because it's a negative reflection. And then it kind of takes away from you as the reviewer. I have to question you now because it's like, okay, well, did you play it through and through? Or did you take the time out to say, hey, this is a review in progress. This is how I'm feeling about it right now. Like there's different avenues, like you were saying, to do something like the ESRB. Like we do not question that. We just take it for what it is. Now, do people go by it? No, nobody goes by it.
Well, nobody, but it's there,
But it's
right?
there.
It doesn't.
You can't argue
there,
with it
right.
though. Like
It's a standardized system.
9 out of 10
Correct.
times, you cannot argue with the ESRB's ratings. If a game's rated M for mature, it's rated M for. It's definitely an M title. Like this game that I have playing in the background, it's a rated M game. It's Dead Space. There's blood. There's gore. It gets crazy. So you already have this expectation of what you're looking for, right? And it should be the same things for reviews. Again, it's okay to be emotionally involved because again, you're going to feel some kind of way about something that you're spending money on, spending time on. Again, you do not get time back. So when you get into games, again, we talk about reviews, people give Returnal high reviews, but did not say that the game crashes, that you cannot move forward, that you will lose your data if the game crashes. You know what I'm saying? They didn't say that in the review. Nobody knew until the game came out. People didn't really know what the game was until the game came out. And people downplayed the reviews that were actually meaningful. And then look where we're at now. Now things are getting fixed, but it's like, dude, the game was out for a week, and people were dealing with being worried about playing the game due to losing their data or whatever else the case might be. Again, it's just there's so much that goes into reviews, man. Pay attention, make your own educated decisions. Again, rolling with an idea like Pawns, I feel like that would be an easy solution.
Yeah, it's just an idea. I mean, it's just
know?
an idea because, again, like you said, it would standardize everything, Steel, from the standpoint that we could have it so that these reviewers would have to show their hours played, right? It would bring legitimacy. You could have them so they had to show hours, had to show completion. They would, again, these would be people that were just picked out to be one group. Again, it wouldn't take away from any other reviewers. Other reviewers can continue to do what they do.
Facts.
Absolutely, we find our favorites, and Ains. I would put Seasoned Gaming up there to be one of the certified. So there you go. So
That's
I know some people are. I know. Mav and Lady are going back and forth that we're going to have some that he could see these reviewers showing up in their robes
Oh,
and
sitting
sitting
at this
around at
round table.
a table at a big castle. That's not, again, I'm not always for standardization and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff either. And again, this would not take away from the rest of the reviewers. Reviewers can
Right.
continue to do what they do. All I'm saying is just to have one group of trusted reviewers who have put in the time and the work, and it is something that you could say, look, if you're just looking for a great review that we know, because here's the deal, they give off other stats, they have obviously stated that they love the genre that they're
Mhm.
reviewing and all that kind of stuff, and just set just kind of a standardization. Again, it would just give people a good source to go to.
Yeah.
People could still go outside of that and find whoever they like the reviews coming from. I mean, again, like I said, personally for me, I could care less.
Mm.
I do read the people that I like and the people that I love. I read their reviews and I trust their reviews. But I more so just read them to get a different perspective and to see what other people are feeling about the game, not to validate my purchase, not to give me that feeling like, oh, I'm so glad I bought this game because other people are loving it. I don't care. I really don't. At the end of the day, but I just think that having that would get rid of this whole Metacritic problem that we
Agree.
now have. And for the developers that are paid based upon ratings, it would give them some stability where they knew who was going to be reviewing their games, and they knew, obviously, that the scores were going to be trustworthy, not just a random conglomerate of a bunch of different people from, that might have their own biases. Everybody's going to have their biases, but again,
Right.
that not the Metacritic system that we have right now, which is garbage. So
Yeah, nah, and
that's
that's
all.
a fact.
That was just my idea. Just one idea.
And that's a fact. I mean, again, I seen lady in the chat talking about she actually reads reviews and everything too. That's another thing that's important, man. Actually reading, not just
Right.
reading the headlines, reading
Correct.
the entire review to make sure that you can make an informed opinion based on that review if you're going to take that into consideration. So again, man, those things are important. Man, again, we're knocking it out the park. It's important stuff that I feel like people should pay attention to. And again, is what it is. Look, man, again, beautiful people in the chat. I appreciate you guys being with us. Living Split Screen in the morning, man. Again, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. UK time. Tell your friends, tell your buddies, get them in here, man. Every Saturday, me and Pong are here to bring in that energy, bring in that live, raw, and uncut aesthetic that I feel like me and Pong really bring. And it's all organic, man. This is authentic. It's energetic. It's authentic, and I can keep going down the line. It's like I'm repeating. It's like you even repeat some words sometimes because it's again those are like the focus points, right? We don't have enough of it, and again that's why we're here to really interject ourselves into the scene. And really get people to understand our passion, our love, and our energy for it. Again, much love to everybody here. Hit that like button and share this out, or sub if you're new here. And man, let's keep it rolling, Pong. Look,
Yeah, man.
what
You got
should we roll into next, man? There's a couple options. We could talk a little bit about Epic and the Apple thing. We could talk about the misunderstanding from the dev from Halo, the artist actually from Halo, who said to not expect extravagant things from Halo Infinite.
You want to dive into that one?
We might as well. Look.
Look. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see.
Ahead.
Well, go ahead and start it off. And I'll jump in because I want to make sure. Do you know his name by chance? Just offhand?
Off chance? No, but it was from a site. Bill, was it Billy Bill, something like that. I put it. I sent you I sent you one of the links in the chat for the rebuttal this morning, or into the DM from rebuttals this morning.
Okay, but because that's where because he put out a video this morning, talking about what happened. That was you didn't bring this up. Actually, just to rewind it back, because I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the cold Colin Moriarty thing and what he brought up.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
that was
yeah.
because
I
that
mean,
was tying into our whole review thing too,
yeah,
wasn't
that was tying into the review thing. So, Colin Moriarty also
it?
came
Dial
out with,
back.
and whatever you feel about Colin Moriarty, I think the man's got some good points, and he is very let's say that he's very thoughtful in his points. So again, you can agree or disagree with Colin Moriarty. No taxation for you, those of you on Twitter. Um, Again, the guy is very, very thoughtful, and he goes through his opinions and he comes out on the other side, and whatever he says he believes. Okay,
Yes.
so
It's
I
confident.
like, yes, I like it. He doesn't spit things just to spit things and see what sticks. It's something that he has definitely
His
delved deep.
feeling. Hmm.
Yes, correct, correct. And so he came out with the tweet yesterday, and,
You
and
want me
part
to
of his video, and we won't watch his video,
you
but
want me to read it?
yeah, go ahead. You go ahead and read it, Steele.
Ooh. Look, Colin Moriarty, man, he had this to say. Gaming critics should embrace the gig they signed up for, or make room for those who will do the job properly with passion and knowledge. Our industry embraces laziness and excuse making to a scary degree.
You can't get any more raw and uncut than that right there. That's like him flat out saying what it is, right?
Yes.
So again, just to go back, I guess we'll just end it on this. But again, this is just another perspective of somebody who's been in the industry for an extremely long time, who has insider knowledge, who worked at IGN,
Facts.
who has worked many places and knows what it's like from the inside out. But again, the fact is that he's even saying that we need to get back to the point, and that's what I started the conversation on, is back in the day when you waited for those magazines, the guys that were writing for those magazines were making piddly. They were making nothing. They were doing it because they loved.
Yes.
Much like everybody out here doing YouTubers, all this kind of stuff. They were doing it because they loved it. But again, they were very passionate, and they expected a certain level out of their own reviews. They expected us. They had a certain amount of respect for not only themselves but for their readers, that they wanted to make sure that they never let down, right? And so they
Mhm.
always made the decisions that, like, again, there was kind of a standard back then that if you liked RPGs and you were a reviewer, you would review the RPGs. If you did not like platformers, you were not going to review the latest platformer. That they would have somebody else within that, whether it was EGM or whatever the case may be, PC Monthly, whatever you were
Mhm.
reading back then, Game Informer, that they would not review outside of what they liked, because again, that's going to cause a negative light on your review right out the gates. And I think that's what Colin is saying here. We now have, which is fantastic, we have access to more and more reviewers every day. There are more and more people who can jump in and start reviewing. Again, you can jump in tomorrow and start reviewing and start posting stuff everywhere. You could
Right.
become the next greatest thing in the world, right? Just from that aspect, because you have access to social media now, which is fantastic. Again, that there's no denying that. But again, the big outlets have strayed away from what made them big back in the day, whether it is their reviews, whether it is their opinions. They have a lot of people who necessarily don't always seem to come across, and again, this is no slight on anybody specifically. It just seems they have a lot of people that are out of place at their websites, at wherever they are giving their opinions, giving their reviews. They have people that just seem out of touch and out of place.
Right.
And I think Colin is just saying, look, if you're not in it for this, again, we've seen this with some reviews over the past couple of weeks. There's some people that interjected political stuff into the reviews. It seems like a lot of people wanted to get into journalism,
Yep.
not necessarily game journalism, right? They wound up in game journalism because there's open spots. And it seems like there's a lot of people here that may not have the passion for the industry that the rest of us do. And it comes across in their reviews, in their writing, in what they're saying. And I think Colin's saying those people need to get out of the road and let people who really want to be here in this industry, and reviewing and doing these kinds of things, writing articles, let them get into the space and lead the way, because that's what we need. And
Yes.
and I think that's where he was going with that.
100%. 100% agree. And better words couldn't be said themselves. Again, that same sentiment carries over into this podcasting space too. It's genuinely how I feel. I don't agree with everything that Colin says, but in this instance, he's speaking the gospel, man. I mean, that's exactly what it is. And it should be carried over into any space. Just be wary, keep things in mind, and form your own opinions. But as we move forward, let's talk a little bit about this Halo thing. I found the content that I was looking for, and I also found the name. So let's see, Lynn. His name is Lynn. I had his first name up here. I don't know what happened to it. But let's see, Eric Lynn. There we go. He is a former 343 Industry skybox artist, Eric Lynn. Look. From what I found on LinkedIn, I believe he last worked with the company last month, which was in April. So from what I know, it seems like he just recently left. And he had a few choice things to say. Now, he came out with a video this morning to basically put some things to bed. And he was saying that overall, that some things were taken out of perspective, even though overall, and what he said in this article that I'm going to pull up and show you guys, that there wasn't nothing wrong that he said. It was just his opinion. Again, we're crucifying people for their opinion. So let me pull this back into here real quick if I can. Boom. Okay. So as I pull this up, I'm going to read a little bit of this to you guys, because some people may not understand what is going on. So the skybox artist from 343, he came out and said that his overall feeling on Halo Infinite is that the finished product will still be great, noting that massive improvements have been made to both the story and the gameplay. However, he comments that players should not expect an epoch-making masterpiece. He then expands on this by lamenting that the company's executives were overambitious and that because of the game's semi-open world focus, the game and the engine had to be worked on at the same time, resulting in a rocky development process. Lynn also notes that the reason the official Halo Infinite gameplay premiere in 2020 was so underwhelming is because many features of Halo Infinite's slip space engine were not fully implemented at that time. Right. Now,
lamenting. I love when they use certain words to get across that feeling.
Exactly.
Lamenting. Oh, it's such a negative kind of.
It comes across super negative.
It does.
And people were running with this as if. Because I'm going to read a little bit more of it also, but people were taking this and saying that, oh man, we knew that Halo was in trouble. Oh, it's not going to be as great as it whatever it is. And let's be honest, does any game live up to your expectation? Most of the time, the games that live up to your expectations were games that you didn't even have an expectation for. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Those are the games that give you that set an expectation for you. It always ends up that the games that you have an expectation for, they end up depending on what level you're at, they might not meet that. And us as gamers, yeah, we can think whatever, we could want whatever, but it may not necessarily happen. So to continue, Lynn then talked about how some of the concepts and content that were originally part of the Halo Infinite have been cut during development. Again, this happens in every game.
Happens all the time.
There are system reasons things get held back, design reasons things get held back. There's an idea that was placed in that doesn't work within the environment anymore. There's so many reasons why things get cut back.
And again, it's funny, Steele. It's funny, not to interrupt you, but it's funny because in this article, anybody who's been in around this industry, anybody who's been a gamer for any amount of time understands this stuff, but they don't even make they make it a point to make that like a big deal by using his quote instead of giving a context that this happens in every, I mean, again, what we know of, this happens in every single video game. There's going to be stuff that is made that never makes it into the game. Period. for whatever the reason. There's always stuff on the cutting room floor. This happens in movies. This happens in books. That's what editing is. This happens in every single facet of any type of creation, right?
Mhm.
Is there's going to be stuff that just isn't used. But again, the way the article's written, they try to use that to create controversy. Like, oh my God, they're cutting things. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just so stupid. That's exactly what happens everywhere. Anyway,
Exactly.
continue.
No, and exactly. And then this is part of the statement, and I'm pretty sure not everybody got this far. Or maybe you did, and didn't use your own brain to try to piece things together. This next statement is what told me that he may feel a little salty. Because again, let me read this statement first. I'm going to repeat what I just said, and I'm going to roll into this next statement. Lynn then talked about how some of the concepts and content that were originally part of Halo Infinite have been cut during development. This, he puts in, that has been put in quotations, so they're saying that this is a quote from him. This has led to some of the things that I have made over the years no one will probably see. He said that. Brother, it is what it is. When you say that statement, now you're coming across like you're salty. Like some of the things that like, oh, you put all this time, and of course I understand. If you're at work and you're investing all this time, energy, effort to you're doing this great new thing that you're thinking is working out, and then your boss comes over and says, nah, man, that's not gonna work. I need you to completely redo that. You're gonna feel a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? Because you felt like you had a solid idea. And maybe it didn't fit the vision.
I agree, Steele, but here's the other side too, and maybe you were just about to touch on this too. So sorry I interrupted.
No, it's a fact.
But my third, again, this stuff irritates the hell out of me. Number one, this whole thing was translated from Mandarin, okay, and everybody who knows Mandarin and knows that the language is extremely complicated, and the guy who translated even said that it may not. No, he tried to translate it. Okay, number two is the simple fact, like 3-Bit was talking last night. If you work on games and you're in the development process, which 3-Bit is, right? Yes. Shout out to 3-Bit. I don't know if he's up or not. But if you're in there and you know going in that a lot of your work will not make it into the game, right? Nice. It's possible that everything that you do, it may not make it. And if you're in the industry, again, you know that that's a part of it. So for him to be like disappointed or whatever the case may be, sure, you're going to be disappointed from a personal level, but if you work in the industry, you already know that's a possibility. So this would not be a big surprise to him, right? This is just something that happens.
Right.
So anyways, continue.
I mean, but no, exactly what you were hitting on. These things happen. Again, not to say that he's wrong, or not to say that that he may be completely wrong, but like you said, and like he admitted in this video that I also have pulled up for you guys on screen. If you guys want to check it out, type it into Google, Billy. You want to type in the guy's name. Again, sorry, I keep forgetting the man's name, man.
Kevin Lynn. Lynn.
Lynn. If you type it, but if you type in Lynn into Google and then type in Billy, that's where he uploaded it to, because apparently that's a site that's very popular where he's at. He goes through this. It's in English. I know it looks like it's all it's not in English right now, but it is. He's doing the video in English and everything. And he explains that there wasn't his intention, that it got blown out of proportion, that that's not essentially what he was saying, that nobody needs to worry about that there's this big issue going on at 343. We do know, and I will say, I'm pretty sure between me and you both, Paul, we know that there's been too much smoke to believe that everything has been perfect. It hasn't. That's obvious. But not only that, we've had an entire pandemic, almost 2 years of people not working in an office together. These guys are not shoulder to shoulder. So I don't know I know y'all expect for games to come out on point and things to not do. These games are still coming out with people who are not in office. They're doing things from home, giving you guys content from home still. Yes, some of them are back in office now, but Halo also has 1,200 devs working on it. You cannot tell me that they're not taking this serious. They know from what they shown that it was, from what they shown at that last E3, again, excuse my sweaty arms, from what they shown at that last time that they displayed Halo, that it was not where it needed to be. Should they have shown it? No, they shouldn't have. I don't understand why nobody looked at the video beforehand. It was like, yeah, let's not show that. But again, it could have been a marketing thing. They probably had things in place.
Don't worry, Steele. Jason Schreier is going to give it all to us. Don't worry. He's already got the plans.
He probably does. He probably does.
That's exactly why he put out the tweet he did yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. He probably does. In
his book.
But guess what? Every game is not going to come out perfect, especially when you're working with a key franchise, a franchise that is so huge that it attracts. Halo is still to this day, between at least Xbox and PlayStation. To my knowledge, I don't want to include Switch because I hadn't done my full research on that. But Halo to this day is still the #1 series as far as being sold. It's the biggest grossing series of all games that have come out, but at least between Xbox and PlayStation. And it's still a huge factor as far as the gaming scene goes. Microsoft knows that Halo is one of their pillars. And when it comes into gaming, it's Game Pass for sure, but they know that Halo, Forza, and Gears are their 3 pillars that they will make sure that they take their time with. Again, the coalition put Xbox on their back. They put them in their backpack and said, hey, we'll put out good content, give you guys good games, and give you a reason for people to believe in what's going on over here, and have set a precedent as far as Unreal goes. Unreal would not be where it's at today if it wasn't for Gears. Point blank, period. Halo, the whole first-person shooter scene would not be where it's at today if it wasn't for Halo. Yes, there was first-person shooter games before that and whatever the case might be, but if it was not for Halo, first-person shooting would not be where it's at today. I found out last night from the homie, shout out to the 108 Dragons. For those who aren't tuned in to the Dragon, go check out Dragon's Den tonight, baby. And the Shot Podcast, by the way. Gotta shout out both for Brother Palm. But found out from 108 Dragons last night, and then also doing a little bit of research myself, is that Microsoft has a patent for the original control scheme that is used in every other first-person shooter that was used after Halo. The layout, the first-person shooter layout that was brought into Halo is a patent layout. Everybody that uses that layout in their game has to cut Microsoft a piece of change. Whether it's a lot or not is completely insignificant. That by itself demonstrates to you what Halo has done. Yes, regardless of how you feel, me personally, as an avid Halo fan who's been playing Halo since the beginning, I believe every Halo has been a great Halo to me. Everyone. 4, yes, I agree with people. The multiplayer was a little lacking. 5 is better. The story-wise, I've liked every one. For anybody to sit here and say that, oh, I didn't like the way the story went, you are so stuck up in your own ass. I am going to sit here and tell you that you have not been paying attention to the Halo story then. Yes, I agree with how they introduced characters and everything else. No, it was not the greatest. Yes, there is so much backstory. Example, like I was talking about last night on GRG, Team Osiris has so much more backstory than them just throwing them into a game. Like they did with 4. Introducing a new squad and nobody being accepting of them because y'all don't know who these people are. Y'all have had Master Chief and Cortana this whole time. But you've also had Buck, who is in Halo ODST, who most people probably don't know, becomes a Spartan and is on Team Osiris that you see in Halo 4 and 5. But nobody knows the backstory, why he became a Spartan, his whole relationship with Locke, and how that goes, what Team Osiris is really about. Because again, the whole point of them bringing in a whole new cast of characters was to show you that there are other Spartans who are just as nice as John 117 is. There are other Spartans there to open up the world to you. And hopefully they're able to do that a little better with Halo Infinite. Like they did it with Spartan Ops in Halo 4. I believe that was Halo 4. I could be mistaken. But they did it with Spartan Ops, giving you that interaction with Hainsley and whatnot, giving you some backstory after the story, and showing and give you more detail to what's going on. Personally, I am not in worry for Halo. Why? Because if Halo flops, guess what? Halo's going to just get put to bed. It is what it is. I just expect for Halo to be another great Halo game. For me, I want 343 to be able to prove the point that, because I don't give 343 the same flack everybody else gets. Yes, they released a broken MCC, Master Chief Collection. Yes, they got now yeah, now it's immaculate. Now it's immaculate. It is. You cannot complain about it now, and they're adding new content to it. Now you can't say nothing about it, but play it, because it's that enjoyable and it's seamless, and with all the upgrades and everything. But I don't give 343 the same flack. Yes, Halo is their adopted stepchild, and they can't do anything about that. And I feel like they've done, regardless of what y'all feel about what's going on at the top or whatever else the case might be, they've done well with what they have had. Microsoft only had 12 options to go, 7 options to go to as far as the devs go before, and now they're up 23 plus. Like, it just shows you the difference. No, they couldn't take their time with Halo before because they needed it out. Xbox needed it out. They were depending on it. So yes, the games weren't perfect. There's 2 sides to every story. Like, everybody says, oh, 343 is trash. They're trash. They put out a good story, but not a good multiplayer. Most of it, again, I sent out a tweet a couple days ago that most of the people that say that Halo's multiplayer or have a complaint about Halo overall were bad at the multiplayer. And I say that because out of 9 out of 10 times, that's exactly what it is. The people who are complaining don't like the multiplayer, aren't multiplayer gamers. And that's fine. If the story didn't hit all the story beats that you wanted to hit, that's fine. But guess what? For what it is for a game series to bring in this vast world, Halo is the Star Wars of the gaming genre, period. Star Wars is, yeah. Halo is Star Wars. They're on the same level. Halo has the potential to live on for an infinite amount of time. It's just, I want to see Xbox take Halo seriously. Finally come out with that movie. Finally come out with that TV series. Finally take Halo to that next level. That's what I want to see. And that's what I want 343 to finally prove that point, that not only they can put out a good story, but they can also put out a solid multiplayer. And if the coalition is working on it, I can guarantee that they're probably working on the multiplayer, and also probably working on some graphics things on the back end.
Yeah, again, they're probably helping out for sure.
Again, you have all these people involved that, again, they don't have 1,200 people for nothing. And you know what I mean? Like, people say, oh, this is the biggest dev team. This is the biggest. Yes, because Xbox knows that this is their pillar title. It's either all or nothing at this point, especially after that last showing. You can't show it how it was showed and then not put 1,200 people on your title now. Like, no, now it's all hands on deck. Oh, now we've had a pandemic. We need attention. We need to give this game as much attention as it needs to detail and everything else. And I feel like we're going to be ever more grateful for it. It's going to, I personally feel like between Halo and Battlefield 6 are going to be the 2 reasons why Xbox by January 15th, and again, I said it last night and I'll say it right here, by January 15th of 2022, Xbox will be at 50 million subscribers. And I mainly say that because Halo has that type of an impact. Look at where we're at right now. We're at 23 million, making almost 1 million month over month at this point. If we just using that number, we're going to be at 30 million easy. Look at Disney Plus, Netflix, and Hulu. Especially Disney Plus, they're over 100, 200 million? 200 million? Is it 100 million or 200 million plus on Disney Plus at this moment?
I think it's 100 million.
Either way, Disney Plus just came out not even 2 years ago, and they're already over 100 million plus. Why? Because of content.
Content is king.
Microsoft hasn't released a first-party game in however long that y'all want to say. And guess
600 and some days.
And they're still making strides. No, Xbox overall you can say whatever you want. Oh, it's not profitable. Microsoft doesn't care about that. They want y'all to pay attention to the games. They want y'all to see the move. Everything else is going to be on their back end. But anyway, other than that, that's pretty much my thoughts on it. I feel like I went on a little rant right there, but
You did.
man.
You went on a great Halo rant, man. You could look. This is what we always talk about, Steel.
That's a
This
fact.
is why I think people join in and tune in to us. And this is why we started this whole podcast, because the passion is there, brother. Again,
Yes.
I'm a casual Halo fan. I don't have the same passion level you do for Halo. I have enjoyed every single Halo, but I'm still casual at the end of the day. And I'm not afraid to say that.
Right.
I just enjoy Halo for what it is. Again, I'm looking forward to Infinite. I think it's going to be fantastic at the end of the day. I think that some people with their passion that's involved in it, and you just showed it right there. You come from one angle with your passion. I think other people, and again, we can't control all human beings. I think other people come with their own passion, and sometimes that passion, a lot of huge Halo fans have been disappointed with 4 and 5 in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anytime that a negative thing comes out, we talked about this on Xbox Ultimate last night with Mav, because Mav and Psycho had a big they did a special yesterday. They just hopped on and talked about it. So, but we talked about it again last night on Xbox Ultimate, is that for me, when I see people in the community that I know are Halo fans and are obviously Xbox supporters, and they had some negative takes yesterday per se, I think that's just because they've been hurt in the past. They've been disappointed and they don't want to be there again, right? And I think sometimes that happens. And I think that everybody just needs to take a step back and take a deep breath and let Halo be what Halo's going to be. It's coming. We have no doubt about that. But until we see it, and again, we're probably going to see a gigantic blowout of Halo come E3, right? And I think a lot of questions are going to be answered when we see that. And I think they've been trying to answer the questions with the updates that they've been giving. For me personally, as a casual Halo fan, I'd love to see the direction that they've been going in ever since Joseph Staten came back.
Facts.
Right? I love it. I love it.
Bring
It seems to be organized. It seems to have they have a plan in place, and they are doing that plan step by step, and they are getting to the point where they are ramping up the hype. They've been giving us these little looks into what they've been doing, and then E3, I'm expecting a gigantic blowout, re-showing Halo Infinite in hopefully a much more glorious light than what happened last year. And again, what happened last year, yeah, it was disappointing. Again, it wasn't as disappointing to me because the gameplay looked really fun. It looked like Halo. It looked like it was going to be a good time, but I could see where the criticisms were coming from. But I think they're going to answer all of that come E3 and start that. The hype train's already started again, but I think they're just really going to ramp it up all over again. But I think everybody needs to take a step back. The Schreiers of the world, the reset eras of the world where a lot of this started, are just always going to be negative cesspools because that's what they feed off of. That's what they live off of. They look in Halo, like you were just talking about, Steel, because of how huge Halo is, because it is one of gaming history's biggest franchises ever. For a million different reasons, it will always be an easy target to go after. And with what has happened with the disappointments of 4 and 5 that were out there, whether real, whether made up, whether it doesn't matter, they were out there. It just makes it an easier target looking forward to Infinite with the year delay and all that stuff to say, hey, looks like we're having trouble again, guys. Look at this. It looks like we're having, it looks like they might be having problems again. Again, I'm still seeing people claiming that it's going to be delayed again. Are you kidding me right now? Okay, stop. Okay, it's not going to be delayed again. But I think at the end of the day, everybody needs to take a step back, take a deep breath, and just let it come out and see what it is. And again, they have a supposed 10-year plan. You don't put together a 10-year plan with something as big as Halo unless you have a vision. And that vision is going to have a lot of content ready to keep it alive for 10 years. We found this out with, like Destiny. When they come out and say 10-year plan, they better have it rock solid. And I think Halo and that entire team knows better. And I think that's why you see the size of the team and the money that's been invested supposedly into this franchise. Xbox is trying to bring it back to its glory. Will it ever come back to Halo 3 glory days? We'll see. But who knows? It might find its own glory. It might find its own path because they're changing it up a little bit from the old formula, right? Right, they're changing the style, right? And not the gameplay style, but they're
Mhm.
changing what it means to be a Halo game. If they're legit going to do this 10-year plan, then we're going to see constant additions of content to it. And again, if that's the case, then it might be different from Halo, the old Halos. But at the same time, it might find its own glory. And we might look back at it and go, damn, they knew what they were doing all
Right.
along.
Right.
You know, it looked like they were scrambling. It looked like there was a lot of problems, and
Mhm.
maybe there was, and maybe we'll see a bunch of changes at the top. But at the end of the day, the game comes out and meets everybody's expectations, which I don't know if it ever will, to be honest, just because the expectations for some are so wild.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, if it hits and it draws those people in, like you said, Steele, like it draws all the people in to buy the Series S and to buy the Series X, and everybody wants to get on Game Pass Ultimate and hop into Halo all the time, and they succeeded. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. And I think they've got a very landscape has changed. There's more competition than ever. But at the end of the day, it's still Halo, and they have a real big chance of grabbing back a lot of the glory that they used to have.
Yes.
And I think they can do it. And I think they will do it. And I'm excited. Again, it's and for me, I'm not even a fanatic. I'm looking forward to a ton of games, but Halo Infinite is something I'm looking forward to because you know what? I've got buddies like you, Steele, and Mav, and Psycho,
That are
and
excited for it.
3-Bit, and yeah, exactly, and Lupa, and everybody else and Caitlin, who's all excited, Lady AF, who are all excited for this game. And I'm excited to jump in with all of you and make some memories in Halo. And that's it, period.
Yeah,
So
and that's a fact. And I'm actually going to bring in some facts because I want people to know that again, we do things very organic and we're trying to be as authentic as possible. But I also, we do things off the cuff, but I also want people to know that we do base everything off of facts. And just to throw some things in here, I'm going to bring this up full screen. Halo is a $5 billion franchise on its own. And like I said earlier, between PlayStation and Xbox, Halo is the top grossing franchise between the two. Has made the most money between the two. Now, Nintendo, they have more things in there. You got Pokemon, you got Mario, and the list goes on. You got Sonic that goes on down the list. But for those of y'all are tuned into the live show, I'm gonna run down this list and just for some comparisons of why I feel the way I do about Halo, specifically as we're talking about it. And we'll also just
Dragon Quest.
Yeah, and we'll also just go through this list and kind of just to get some an example of what we're looking at and what we're dealing with today. So right now, this is visualcapitalist.com. The top 50 highest grossing video game franchises. And I'm only going to get down to where Halo's at because I want y'all to have some perspective. Look,
I've never played Pokemon. It's a
you have Pokemon, you got Mario, you have Call of Duty. Call of Duty, mind you, the other thing that you need to take in consideration, Halo is on one platform. Two now, if you include PC. Call of Duty is on everything. And they have tons of microtransactions. The amount of money that Call of Duty makes off of microtransactions is why it's worth $17 billion. Like, come on. Then you have the Wii. I guess they're just talking about Wii overall. You have Pac-Man, Space Invaders. What is that? Dungeon Fighter Online, Street Fighter, Final Fantasy, Warcraft. I don't know what that is, but it's the number 7 top grossing.
What? Dude, there's all these games that we have no idea.
Exactly. These are games that nobody talks about. You have Crossfire, you have FIFA, you have Grand Theft Auto, you have Lineage. I've never heard of that. League of Legends. I did math last night, right? I was doing math last night. It said on average, there's over 110 million players on League of Legends.
Yep.
That on average, the typical person spends about $90 a year on League of Legends. On average. I did the math and it was almost $11 billion that League of Legends is making on its own off of microtransactions.
If anybody out there wants to know,
game.
Right, but if anybody ever has a question anymore as to why these types of games as a service, are taking over the industry.
This is
and
why.
why they're so important. This is why. And you can't get mad at people for chasing this, because look at these numbers. Again, from games that there's games in here that I've never even heard of.
Monster Strike, Puzzles and Dragons, Fantasy Westward Journey, Digimon, okay, cool,
Right.
of course, Arena of Valor, Honors of Kings, Sonic, okay, of course, Dragon Quest, Clash of Clans. It's a mobile game. Pro Evolution Soccer, Dragon Ball, of course, and then Halo. Where's all these other games that y'all hype up all the time?
When's the last time Lineage was freaking popular? For God's sakes, man, that's number 14, 1998. Lineage is still $9 billion. My God,
that is my entire point with this.
Your point is with Halo, though, is because it's a single platform game.
Yes,
and it's that high on the list. Correct.
It is insane that Halo itself is a $5 billion franchise. That's why they have spent over $500 million on the game. That's why they have 1,200 devs working on the game, because they know it's serious. They know that it's either make or break, because again, just like with the Gear series, it's only going to take them one game to completely flop for it to get put to bed for a while. And I'm pretty sure they want to make sure that this is the best that they can be. Again, it is an industry changer. There's only certain games that are industry changers. You know what I mean? And this is one of them. So everybody,
exactly 108. I was just gonna say that. I'm like, I think that we have a few games missing from this list.
Yeah, exactly. Where those
huge franchises?
Exactly. Where are those huge franchises that everybody else talks about? Like, come on, man. Anyway, but yeah, that's where I was getting at with that, man. I just want people to know that things are things are opening up, man. Again, like you always say, Paul, we're in the golden age of gaming, man. We always say that here. Again, gaming is art, where it's becoming more and more apparent day by day as we get deeper and deeper into the future, man. Things are looking brighter and brighter, especially what Microsoft has going on. We're seeing the things with EA and Apple that are kind of funny. I don't know if you want to touch into that. I know we're getting into the 2-hour mark. So if you want to get into that a little bit, but overall, we're getting into a great era. And I just need people to buckle their seatbelts up. That's all. But anyway, just to kind of, so we can move forward, before we get to the this day in gaming, that I'm probably going to run through here in a little bit. Let's talk about the whole Epic and Apple battle that now Microsoft has also been part of, been forced to be a part of now.
A new fighter has entered.
But man, Pong. Oh, before we get into the whole Epic and Apple thing, for those who have been here almost 2 hours in, I'm dropping a code for
another code for what now?
Outlast 2. Hitting the chat
Outlast 2
right now.
Xbox. Outlast 2
on Xbox. For those who have not gotten the Outlast 2 or into scarier games, get that code. And if you grab it, let us know so we can show you some love, and make sure that we get these codes out of rotation, so that we don't bring them back next week, man. Unfortunately, I guess
one of those horror games I'll never play. I'm not going to grab the code, guys.
Me too.
Because I can't play that game.
Me too. I'm not. I've seen people play it. I'm cool. But yeah, Outlast 2. The code just dropped. Grab that, man.
Steel, hey, can you drop that link to that webpage you were just on for Mav?
Yeah.
He wants to see that link.
Yeah, I'll send him to Mav. I'm gonna send it to you directly.
Yeah, send it DMs. That's fine.
Yeah,
Damn it.
I send it to your Twitter DMs, my guy. But yeah, that's in there.
So Epic versus Apple.
Yes, Epic versus Apple. Let's get it, man. How you feeling? What do you think about this? I know people have been talking about it all week, but
yeah, we'll keep it kind of short here, guys, because this, again, for me, as somebody who has been a follower of the industry for a very long time, and not just surface level, I like business aspects of the industry as well. And I'm not no expert. I don't have a degree in finance or accounting or anything like that. But I love to look at the business because it fascinates me how these businesses are run.
Nice.
But what I guess the short end of this is nobody should be surprised anymore by what comes out. This is just validation of everything that we talk about when it comes to the industry. All those times that we hear these little tidbits of rumors of the back, the backroom deals that are
Mhm.
being cut by companies. We just now have confirmation that pretty much all that stuff you can pretty much say is true, right? This is a big business industry. Nobody should be shocked by the things that are signed in the back rooms in secret, the email discussions that happen between the bigwigs. None of it should be surprising. Now, what is funny is the way that Tim Sweeney talks to Sony and the way that
Yes.
Tim Sweeney from Epic talks to Microsoft and Phil.
That's a
And
fact.
what also is kind of funny is Phil's responses to Tim Sweeney. Like, everybody, like, Phil has shown that he can be cutthroat, right? We found that out. Like, a lot of people didn't believe that he was cutthroat. Everybody believed that he was a nice guy. But at the end of the day, Phil is the same person behind the scenes that he is to us on stage,
Yes.
right? And out in front of us. And we found that out by Tim Sweeney's emails. Tim Sweeney had a couple of emails to Phil that opened up the opportunity for Phil to get dirty and to
Yeah.
talk some smack, and he
Yeah.
didn't do it. He didn't
didn't.
take
He
any of
didn't.
it. He didn't at all, right? He just kept it professional all the way through. Even when Tim was like, "Oh," I think one of his, and I'm not direct quoting here, but one of his emails was something to the effect that, "Hey, Phil, I think you're gonna like the fireworks coming up."
Yeah.
And he was talking about when he was taking Apple,
That's a fact.
when he started this whole Apple battle, right? So just stupid stuff like that. But Phil's response is completely professional, just whatever. But I think at the end of the day, all this does is confirm yet again that these backroom deals that we hear about Sony making all these years is true. And I don't doubt that Microsoft has their own backroom deals. Again, this is big business, people. We can sit here at the end of we could sit here every single day and talk about the virtues of what Phil and his team are doing and how awesome it is, and whether or not we agree with Sony and we want Sean Layden back, and he was such a great guy. We could talk about all this stuff, but at the end of the day, this is big business. This is a billion and trillion dollar companies doing something that makes them money. If they weren't making money, they wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have video games. So
Right.
it should not be shocking that a company is going to try to keep another platform from getting a certain content. It should never be shocking to anybody that that stuff happens. Now, can we talk about whether or not it's right, whether it's wrong? Yeah, we can have those discussions. But again, this is business that happens in every industry, not just the gaming industry.
Right.
Okay. So again, none of that shocked me or surprised me. Like I said, some of it I chuckled at. I thought it was pretty funny. Tim Sweeney is one hell of a guy. I think there was another email where he sent one to Tim Cook, and Tim Cook CC'd somebody within Apple and was like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah.
like, like Tim did,
That was hilarious.
Tim didn't even realize who Tim Sweeney was. I mean, it's kind of
Yeah.
it's just
That's
funny
that's
stuff like
hilarious.
that, man. Like I can't imagine being that like obviously Tim Sweeney's got some big D energy, right? Because Fortnite is the biggest thing everywhere, right? So
Mhm.
he's coming in the room like, man, we got Fortnite. If you want Fortnite, if you want the money that comes along with Fortnite, you're gonna play ball with us,
Yeah.
right? So he's swinging that big D energy.
Yeah, it's
But
facts.
just the thought that he's up late one night, randomly emails Tim Cook talking about, hey, you the way you run your app store is not right, blah blah blah. And
Mhm.
Tim Cook goes, oh, what's that? With the Conor McGregor meme. Who the fuck is this guy? like that just
That's a fact.
cracks
That shit
me
was
up.
funny as
Yeah,
hell.
yeah, that just
Funny,
cracks me up.
funny as hell.
Oh god, man. But again, from that standpoint, I didn't find out anything too shocking to me. Sony's shady. Sony does cut deals. It's a part of business. They're gonna do what's necessary to try to, get their cut of every single pie possible.
Yes.
Again, Sony's not a rich company like Microsoft. They're rich. Again, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Sony's poor, but
Right.
they depend upon PlayStation. PlayStation carries Sony, especially now, versus Microsoft that has all these other divisions. Xbox is just one of those pillars now. Sony depends on PlayStation. So they're going to try to cut corners and grab as much money wherever they can. And even if that means, fighting against crossplay and then enacting fees over the crossplay stuff, it doesn't shock me in the least.
Right.
They're going to do that stuff. What I did find interesting though was one of the documents that came out.
Mhm.
Steele was the expected release schedule that Microsoft actually had in those docs. And they had
Never
a
jacked the games,
big
right?
old list, yeah, of all the games. And that list ran through quarter 1 of 2021, right?
Yep.
So, and this included third party games, first party games, second part, it didn't matter. It included all games. What was really interesting is that there was redacted games, right? That there was games that did not wind up releasing. And what was really cool to see and kind of mind blowing was you could figure out some of them. You could see, Halo, you could see, some things in
Mhm.
there like that. But the quarter 1 2021 redacted section was just giant blocks of redacted,
Yep.
right?
Huge blocks.
And if
Mhm.
huge blocks, and if you looked at it and you line them up side by side with the type of font that they were using, you could kind of figure out that there was somewhere in the neighborhood of 13 to 15 games. And again, this is everything. This isn't first party
Right.
only. This is first party,
It's
third
everything.
party,
Mhm.
indies, it doesn't
Across the
everything.
board.
But 13 to 15 games were expected to release by Microsoft in quarter 1 2021. So that means right now, and on top of all the other stuff that we got, they were actually expecting that many more games to drop. Again, we can figure out some of them, like the Ascent, I can
Mhm.
guarantee you was in there. Scorn may have been in there. Tunic may have been in there at one point. You can kind of see some of the games that they've been kind of holding back, that have gotten delayed, that we were
Right.
kind of expecting to see up front. But we're talking 13 to 15 more games. I can't imagine what it looks like. But what's interesting is that, yes, some of those could be pushed to 2022
Mhm.
with COVID, but we can expect a large amount of those to have been pushed to fall or to late summer, right?
Okay.
Or that
Yeah.
we're going to see at E3. So for everybody who's worried about 2021 and not having a lot of stuff coming out, dude, we got a lot of
Buckle up.
stuff coming out. Far Cry 6 was probably in there too, because I think Far Cry
Oh,
6
yeah.
was
It got
supposed to be
pushed
an
back. Yep.
April drop.
Mhm.
Yeah, it got pushed back. So, but I'm just saying that this second half of 2021 is going to be huge.
Oh,
It's going to be
it's gonna be amaze balls.
gigantic. I mean, just the stuff we know about, and then there's a ton of stuff that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Right. And we're going to see more and more of it. So, again, like you said, Steel, golden age of gaming is upon us. That's what we talk about all the time. So, what I've been talking about, it is the golden age of gaming. But the content that's coming out, and that means that some of that stuff later this year might be pushed to early 2022. But again, it's all going to eventually get here.
Mhm.
And that rumble you hear is the avalanche that's coming.
Coming.
And we are going to have more stuff to play than we know what to do
That's
with.
a fact.
But again, I just thought that document out of the Apple versus Epic versus Apple was kind of interesting. Again, emails are fun. Yeah, there's some shady stuff being happening. Yeah, Sony's trying to squeeze people for money. It happens at the end of the day. Again, the three, I guess the other thing that came out of that was the 3-month exclusivity for Stalker 2.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't worry so much about that. People are saying, well, that's a bad deal. You know what?
They
We don't know what
they
that,
don't even have a plan for any other they don't have another console.
right,
They don't have another version
right,
ready. They only
right.
have
And if
that version ready. And maybe
if that's
PC.
true, right. And if that's true, and that what they're saying is the honest to God truth, we've heard
Mhm.
PR speak
Oh,
before.
yeah.
But
Facts,
if that
facts.
is
But if we're
true, that
face
is
value.
true. It'll take 6 months to a year for them to get the other version up and running. So that does not matter. And again, I don't care. I hope
Yeah, it
everybody
don't
gets
matter.
to experience Stalker
Yeah.
too, because I want everybody to enjoy Stalker. Stalker
Facts.
is one of those games that more people need to see. That was a PC only game from back in the day that was huge on PC, still to this day being played. And I hope that Stalker 2 hits the way that I think it's going to, because it's going to be another major franchise. And guess what? There's rumblings that Microsoft might have interest in that studio. So that
Would
studio
be
is
dope.
underrated. That would be dope, man.
That would be
Another one.
that would be
Yeah.
super dope.
Oh my God. Just again, if it hits the way that the old Stalker hit, and it's only part of the team that used to be there, because the other part of the team creates Metro series now. They broke off and they do the Metro series, which is a lighter version of Stalker. Excellent game series. Love them to death. But if this team can bring back the original vision of Stalker, you got another Fallout type level experience on your hands. Hundreds of hours, side missions, deep exploration, decision making. So again, I thought that was kind of interesting. The 3-month thing, everybody kind of was up in arms. Oh, Microsoft making bad deals again. 3 months exclusivity. Was that got? Nah, don't worry about that. It'll take longer for that Stalker 2 to come on other consoles or whatever else the case may be. But at the end of the day, I don't care. We know we're getting it. It's going to be in Game Pass. I'm all set, so I don't care. But,
Facts. And kind of just bouncing off of what you were talking about. The biggest thing that that was crazy to me is that the way that Sony was charging for Epic for crossplay. I thought that was just egregious. The fact that they had that 90-10 split going on. Shout out to Hogue Law, who really did a good job breaking all that stuff down. The fact that they had that kind of a thing going on, I felt is super egregious. Again, saying Sony saying that, yeah, you can sell whatever you want to over there, but we feel like we deserve most of it. Man, it just again tells you where Sony's head is at. Again, this is something that they've always done. This is how they've always operated. That's that Asian mentality. I'm not gonna say Asian mentality, but that Japanese mentality. You're doing things in an older way. Also being very not necessarily stuck in your ways, but very head on with things. You know what I mean? And I feel like they are slightly out of touch. When you see these kind of emails and whatnot, and see everything that's been going on within the gaming space itself, Nintendo can do whatever they want because they're Nintendo. Nobody could be at that level, and they're going to continue, because Nintendo's going to be around till whenever Nintendo decide that they don't want to be around anymore. And as long as they keep putting out content, it's going to be all right. But as far as like Sony goes, it's one of those things where you're seeing who's very consumer facing and who's not. And I know people try to use that. Who cares about Microsoft being involved in the community? And then people care, because as a consumer, you want to be able to call. For example, you want to be able to call if you have an issue with Best Buy. You want to be able to call Best Buy's HR and get your issue resolved. You know what I mean? You want to be able to call Walmart's HR and get your issue resolved. You can call Xbox and get your issue resolved. Nowadays, it's kind of off and on because of, again, the pandemic and everything. But every experience that I have had with Microsoft, especially on the consumer side of things, has been very, except for those, and that's with anything, but except for those few times, but it's been very consumer facing. They're wanting to take care of their customers. They want to make sure that you're satisfied with whatever that you're doing. Again, look at examples like people who are unhappy with Returnal and can't return it. PlayStation has said, nope, you've bought the game, you played the game, you can't return it. Nope, I don't care if you don't like it. Oh well. But if it was on Xbox's side, you played that game for an hour, I believe as long as you don't go over a certain amount of time played within the game, you can return that game with no problems most of the time. Now, it's not perfect every time, but it just shows you two sides of that same coin, right? And then, like Trevor was saying, 3-month exclusivity is that Xbox, and then more than likely it going to PC, Steam, Epic, GOG, and not PlayStation. Again, from what we have heard, and we can only take things at face value, we do not see another version of this game coming out other than it coming to PC. So that's that. I feel like you pretty much knocked that out the park. As far as like the whole Epic and Apple thing, basically you said everything that I was going to say. I was going to touch on with it. People have touched on it all week. Again, if y'all want a solid breakdown of what's going on with this whole Epic and Apple thing, check out Hogue Law, a guy who was in that scene, who was a attorney within that scene, dealing with that stuff on a day-by-day basis, who puts out excellent content as far as that stuff goes. Hogue Law, check him out, man. He did a very good breakdown of what is going on within this space. It just opens our eyes, man. Again, the companies are trying to make money, man. And that's what it is at the end of the day, But absolutely. As we move forward, we're getting to the end of the show. I'm pretty sure there's probably a few other things that we might have wanted to touch into, but again, as things go, me and Pong just carry our conversations easily. But man, just want to touch on the chat again. I appreciate everybody for being here, tuned in to your Saturday morning show, Living Split Screen, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. UK time. Man, we're doing it for y'all. We're doing it because we feel like we bring in the most energetic, authentic, enthusiastic content as far as podcasting goes that is out there. And it's organic, man. How can you get any better than this? Me and Pong are just doing this naturally. Again, just to give you guys backstory, if you weren't here in the beginning, we have not spoken for real all week, maybe once or twice. And again, we're here 2 hours and over 2 hours into the show, and just now getting to wrapping up, giving this energy, giving y'all this content, giving you guys our gaming opinions and our thoughts on what's going on the gaming industry in total. And I feel like that's what's more important. Everything, it's more where, not necessarily that we are highly community driven for sure, but we also want people to understand that at the end of the day, this is about gaming. I mean, we could talk about other things too, but it's about coming together, being able to talk about something, not get super emotionally involved about whatever else might be going on with any other community. Because I know people like to say, oh, it's just the Twitter community. No, what y'all see in the Twitter community is a small part of what actually goes on throughout the world as far as the gaming space goes. It's up to us to make sure that gaming is treated as art. Again, shout out to the homie Everborn Saga. It is up to us to treat gaming as art, and it should be treated as such. And with that being said, as gaming should be treated as art, let's get into the final section of this day in gaming. We're going back, this time we're only going back 19 years into 2002 on the This Day in Gaming of May 8th. So I'm gonna switch over to the screen, and we're gonna go through what happened this day in gaming.
All right. Feel old. Steal rain.
Yeah, Pong and some guys in the chat like to say I like to make them feel old. Again, my whole point with this is because people have to realize.
What is your whole point?
We are we're in a point, man, where everybody, we need to realize that gaming is art. We don't just get a new console and move on anymore. Xbox has made that extremely relevant. People have never done that on PC. Everything is always carried over, and now it's just becoming more prevalent that it's something that's important. You should be able to take your content with you no matter where you are. And that's what this section is for. To not only reminisce a little bit and think back on those older titles that you may be able to jump back into if you have some of these, or maybe you just want to go back in those memory banks and say, man, and bring up those good memories back up. So this day in gaming on May 8th of 2002 on the Game Boy Advance, you had Desert Strike Advance.
Oh, Desert Strike, Jungle
That sounds
Strike.
familiar.
Remake them. Top down with the helicopter.
Yep.
Oh my God. Remake them, EA. Bring them back. My God. I made a post on Twitter a couple months ago about those games, and it got a lot of traction because there's so many people that remember playing those games nonstop. When I worked at Funkaland, we could never keep used copies in stock. We always sold out right away on the Genesis. Freaking amazing games, awesome, man.
That's badass. Yeah. All right, 2003 on the PC, we had Roller Coaster Tycoon Deluxe. Back in that era, I didn't really play those what will you call that? What were those kind of games called? Those amusement park games where you go in, build your own
simulation
park. Oh, the simulation amusement park, whatever the technical name for it is. I believe it was Roller Coaster Tycoon that it was.
Oh, I'm sure
at the time,
it's been around for
PlayStation 2
a long time.
era, somewhere in there. That I played a lot of that on.
Theme Park was the other one.
Theme Park. Okay, there you go. Those games are cool if you're into that, building your own theme park, managing the people that are coming out, keeping people happy. I thought that was dope back then. I'm not into those now, but for those who are into it, man, if you were playing it on PC in 2003, we're here to remind you of those memories, man. 2007, PlayStation 2. Dot Hack, another great anime. If y'all have not watched Dot Hack, y'all need to tune in. Go look right now. Go get Crunchyroll. Go get Anime Free. Go get wherever you get your anime content from. Sign in, Tune in to Dot Hack and check it out if you're into that. But they had a game that released on PlayStation 2. They had an Xbox 360. This is crazy to think about. Speaking of RTSs, Command and Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars. What a great game, man. What a great game.
They got the remake out. They got the remaster out on PC Game Pass. They haven't made it for consoles. They need to bring it back. I think it was Red Alert. I think.
Yeah, Red Alert. Yeah.
Yeah, Red Alert. Oh God, I want that back.
Yeah, I never played I never played RTSs on console for real. I'm never into it. I played consoles heavily on PC. So Command and Conquer, StarCraft, Warcraft, those games were Age of Empires. I sunk thousands of hours into. So Command and Conquer, man, just think back on that. Lord. Man, I can remember the memories on that is so extravagant to me, man. As we move forward, PSP Driver 76. There you go. For those who were in that PSP era. I had a fully modded out PSP. Supposedly, I'm not going to go on record and say that I was emulating games. Some people kind of feel a certain way about that, but yes, I had a fully modded out PSP, and it was the most amazing thing ever. Having those games on the go, man, it was ahead of its time. Again, PC, they had Infernal, okay, and then they also had The Sims 2 Deluxe. The Sims has been around for so long, and it just seems like they keep trying to take it to the next level. I don't know if you guys have ever played Sims, or if you have even played Sims, Pong, but I've caught myself in several moments of whether whoever was ended up playing Sims that I was around, where I'd get on and at least build a house or whatever the case might be, get fully involved and spend endless amounts of time just putting stuff together. I never really played Sims the way it was supposed to get played. I was just like, yeah, let me build a house. Let me build a house real quick. Or, you know what I mean? That's the same thing I did in Minecraft. I've never been able to get in Minecraft, but the time that I did spend, I spent building idols of like my favorite video game characters, and then I never played again. I thought it was dope for that. But it's just, those aren't my type of games, man. You know what I mean?
No, they're not mine either.
But as we move forward, PlayStation 2, Tony Hawk, Downhill Jam.
Downhill Jam.
I don't remember Downhill Jam. I remember Pro Skater. I remember Pro Skater.
Well, yeah.
But I don't remember
Skater.
Downhill Jam.
Yeah.
That's crazy. For the fact that I don't remember it, probably speaks volumes. But anyway, 2012, PlayStation 3, Starhawk. I don't know. Okay.
Amazing game. Starhawk is one of those games a lot of people would like to see come back again. Starhawk.
Okay. From the creators of Warhawk. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
That definitely sounds like interesting. I didn't get a chance to play that game, but it might be something.
Warhawk and Starhawk were both awesome. Yeah. They were.
That's pretty awesome. 2014 PC. Lord. Now.
Age of Mythology.
Age of Mythology. This is Age of Empires, except with all the with the gods.
Correct,
bro.
Yep.
The fact that you taking this RTS and taking it to that next step to where you have these big you get to these points in these RTSs where you get to the end, start getting to the end of the game, and we really get to start seeing who really prepared for the end game, right?
Yes.
When somebody comes in and rains Zeus down on you, or brings in one of the big like whether it's a Cyclops or one of the bigger monsters or a Colossus or whatever the case might be, you knew that it was game time. If you did not have something to fight back, it was probably going to be the end of the game, because they came through and wrecked shop. Me
and my kiddo used to play this nonstop. You know, as not a PC guy, I used to fire it up on the laptop because he loved RTSs and building arms and shit. So, God, I loved it.
Amazing. It was a great time.
So good.
PC Bound by Flame. Okay. I'm not familiar with Bound by Flame, but okay.
Bound by Flame.
Sounds pretty dope.
It was a double A kind of action RPG. Good. It was good fun at the time. It was good fun at the time.
Sounds dope.
Nothing special.
All right, so then we move on. iOS, iPhone, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite for iOS in Japan. I can expect that. Monster Hunter is a big thing over there. They like playing it on the go. Monster Hunter
Freedom was good.
Thing. Okay.
I played it on Vita. Vita was awesome.
So it was also on Vita. That's badass. Awesome. Yep. Macintosh, Tesla Effect, a Tex Murphy adventure. Not familiar with that, but again, could have been all right. Who knows? For those of y'all who played it, let us know. Was it a great game?
Macintosh. How many people were playing Macintosh in 2002?
That was right before 2014, actually.
2014.
2014 on Macintosh.
Oh, wow.
That's what throws me off. Like,
Wow. Wow. Okay.
I didn't know
Okay.
people were still playing on Macintoshes.
Right.
But 3DS, you had the Denpa 3, The Rise of Digital. Oh, I'm not familiar with that. Well, we're going to click on it. And yeah, I'm not familiar with that. But I also wasn't into the last time, again, I believe I said this before, the last handheld console that I really had was the Game Boy SP. And it came out, it was around that time. I think the last game that I played on it was a Sonic game, where they had a bunch of characters that came in. I mean, I only say that because it was, I can't remember the freaking name of the game, man. But it was well after, because that was like towards the end of my Pokemon run, where I just came off of playing Pokemon Ruby. That was a last real game that I played on the Game Boy. And yeah, so I'm unfamiliar with that game. I have to ask my brother about that. He has a 3DS and still to this day has a 3DS. So let's see if he was into that. I don't think he was. He was definitely, he continued that Pokemon franchise. You see what the #1 grossing franchise of all time is.
Correct.
Pokemon.
I never played it. Never played.
All right. As we move forward, 2018. PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, we have Conan Exiles. From people that have played this game, it's kind of the same along the same lines of Ark. I believe it was that same kind of play style. It was a survival-based game. You get together with a team of guys or even by yourself and survive, man. In a Conan
just
world.
Announced coming to Game Pass soon.
Oh, that's true. Yes, they
dropping into Game Pass.
They did just announce that it's coming to Game Pass, so it might be something worth checking out.
I'll play it. I played it on the PS4 a little bit. I
never got into it, man. No, never. Yeah. But again, I'm not a huge survival game. It takes a lot for a survival game to really entice me, to keep me heavily invested. None of them have done it.
You and I'll hop in there.
But yeah, for sure. I definitely do that. Fun. Then PlayStation 4, you had Darkest Dungeon Ancestral Edition.
Awesome game. Amazing game.
That sounds like a pretty badass. I didn't take a chance for that. PlayStation 4, you got Mega Dimension Neptunia. What is that?
Neptunia's
7R. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty dope. Okay.
Neptunia
anime style looking kind of game. PC, you got Pillars of Eternity 2. Deadfire.
Great.
Pillars of Eternity, again, if y'all do not know, for those who are tuned in, Pillars is actually continuing with Avowed. So that's going to be very interesting to see, because they're continuing that whole world.
It's all the lore. It's the lore. Yeah. If anybody's played, the Pillars of Eternity, the lore is extremely deep. We're talking about, I would say it even rivals Elder Scrolls lore, as far as detail goes, and how in-depth they have that. That's why I can't wait for Avowed, because Obsidian has got it all set up. That world is already built with everything they need. It's insane. I can't wait.
I feel like they're going to do it, especially with all that story all being there. They don't have to reach too far. They don't have to do that back end work. They just need to follow story and do really well with the gameplay. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm excited for that too. Nintendo Switch and on PlayStation 4, Shantae Half Genie Hero Ultimate Edition. Not familiar with that, but hell yeah, that's what's up, man.
It's fun. Yeah, you can check it out. It's fun. The graphics are beautiful. It's so sharp. The animation is extremely well done. It is phenomenal. I really like it. Yeah,
that's badass. 2019, as we move forward, PlayStation 4, Legend of the Tetrarchs.
No.
Okay.
Tetrarchs, I guess.
I'm not familiar with that, but okay.
No, Japan.
That's what's up. That's a Japan game.
One of those games.
Again, we're kind of out of that era where you're importing games all the time. Again, the last game that I imported was Gundam Breaker 3. It's not available over here. I had to import that from Singapore to get the English subtitles for that. And let's be honest, I mean, the last time that I was really heavily trying to import games was around the PlayStation 2 era. Around their Dreamcast era, where you were trying to get games in so you can play them, man, because they had such a wide variety. Nowadays, it's just kind of like, if it doesn't release over here, you just kind of, there's so many games that come out now, it's kind of like whatever. And then as we move forward into 2020, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One released Super Mash. Super Mash, I'm not familiar with. It looks like another brawler type game. Again, these games come out. Let's see. I want to see, and Super Mash players can blend together iconic genres to create never before seen gaming experience, jump through classic platformer levels. Okay, so it's not a It says it's fight as spaceships and engaging JRPG battles. Okay, so it's not one of those fighters or whatever the case might be. But for those who play Super Smash, man, maybe y'all are into it. Maybe you got some memories with that.
I'm just looking at it right now. It looks kind of.
It looks intriguing. It looks interesting.
Yeah, like tiles pop out.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What?
It looks extremely interesting.
Okay.
But
I might have to look into this one. Yeah,
exactly. But look, with that being said, that is your This Day in Gaming segment, where we run down all games that have released this day in gaming, almost up to 30 years in the past, and just bring them to the forefront so people can not only reminisce within the chat or just reminisce with themselves on the back end when you listen to this after, if you're not tuning in live, and just have some memories with these games, man. Gaming is art, should be treated as such, and that is the whole point of this segment. So games don't get forgotten. Because sometimes we forget, man. Sometimes we forget about those games that really had those lasting memories and lasting impressions with us. And it takes segments like this that are different, that nobody's doing. Again, the same thing with the upcoming games thing that Pong likes to do in the beginning of the show. These are things that people aren't bringing to the forefront, and we feel are important for everyone to know, because again, it's about gaming, man. This is our passion. This is our hobby. This is what we love. That's why we're doing it. With that being said, man, 2 hours and 20 minutes in, we're at the end of the show. Pong, man, how you feeling? How you feeling about today's show, man? How you feeling about overall everything that we got going on, man? And look, man, another Saturday down.
Hey, brother. Episode 7, lucky number 7 is in the books as we wrap this up. No, man, this was a great, another great episode. Obviously, again, as you already stated, Steel, we didn't talk a lot this week. So we kind of came into this one not knowing how it was going to go, where it was going to go, what path we were going to take. Thanks. And guess what? Together another gigantic show just between the two of us, having a great time with the chat. The chat was on fire. You guys are all freaking amazing. Six Layer, K Megas showed up now. Spooky Sprocket, G-Bone still here. Snakewood, Casket Repair, Dragon Wolf, Psycho Knots is still in the house. What's up, brother? Trevor Farrell. Who else we got in here? We got, man, there's still Stanley Francois is still hanging out with us. Joe Dunmore is still here. Done more. No, I can't even do it close, man. I gotta work on my Mag impression. Marion, of course. Shout out to Marion for the codes again. Marion the Mad, great member of the community. Special shout out to him and much love. If you guys aren't following him, follow that guy. He is just a positive individual. Really great guy. So follow Marion. But otherwise, again, everybody, the chat was lit. Matt Burns was in here. A lot of good discussions today. Again, we didn't have, this week started out, we were supposed to have a big news week. And I guess it was with, Epic versus Apple was kind of the big news. We didn't get the Battlefield 6 drop that we thought we would this week, hopefully coming up. But again, just an exciting time to be a part of this community and in this industry. And with us too, Steel, we always find a way to make it work with our conversations. Again, I'd like to, I got, my whole review conversation, I got to think about that on that more. Cause I really, I think there's some ideas in there. I don't know if I got across properly with some people. Some people seemed a little bit confused about what I was talking about. But I think it's an interesting topic nonetheless. Again, you don't always think about the review process when it comes to games because a lot of us don't care, but a lot of people do care. And that's why it becomes a topic of conversation. And that's why we touched on it, Steel. So I think it is something to discuss and kind of delve into. And I think it's something that we need to look into to try to try to give it some validity versus what we're seeing right now, which is just pretty much, dismissing Metacritic and using it as console war BS, and I think there's something important there. So, again, that was great. But, Steel, I just love hanging out with you, brother, on a Saturday morning, man. I just love it, man. I love you.
What makes it so great, man, it's kind of like what we said in the DMs and everything. It's the fact that, because we keep getting complimented on this, and I'm pretty sure we can speak on both sides. We said the same things. Just the way we do this and it being so organic, people can tell, people feel it. And That's so important to me, man. And I know it's important to you too, because that's the whole reason why we're doing this. We wanted to bring out some content that was organic, like Stanley Francois was saying in the chat, man. Live, raw, and uncut, man. That's exactly what we're trying to bring. That energy, that vibe, that essence of what gaming should be, of how gaming should be talked about, of the energy that I personally feel, that we personally feel is required to do this kind of thing. No, not everybody's the same, but guess what? This is us naturally. And I feel like it's so important that people understand that. Again, we're talking about something that we love, that we deeply care about. We invest a lot of time, energy, effort, money into. So I understand why people have feelings, and everything else is completely understandable. But at the same time, we have to be more objective as gamers. We have to be more respectful as gamers. We have to be more understanding as gamers. If we're going to sit here and call ourselves that. Gaming, being gamers is more than, whether you beat this game and this game or whatever the case might be. It's about being able to have a conversation and being objective. You know what I mean? Again, it's all based off of opinions, just like whether it's shoe brands, whether it's car brands, whether it's your favorite Eggos that you like to eat. It all depends. And you have to keep these things in mind. Again, shout out to everybody in the chat. Much love. Everybody hit that like button on your way out. Share it out. Let people know about Living Split Screen and what we got going on here every Saturday morning. Again, just to let y'all know what's going on in the background. We're constantly in talks of what we got going on. We've been busy between me and Pong, trying to get things situated. We are going to start promoting more like 30-second clips to try to get us out there more, to get people a feel of what we do here. And I'm going to start getting more vocal on Facebook as far as Living Split Screen goes, in other gaming communities, whether that be Reddit or wherever else, because we want to push ourselves out there. Again, I'm pretty sure I can speak for me and Pong. We're aiming for the top. I don't care how anybody else feels or whatever else the case might be. Let us know what you guys think, if you understand, if you're feeling what we're doing, if you support what we're doing, what you like or don't like, whether the gameplay is trash, whether our opinions are trash. Well, don't say our opinions are trash, because if you say our opinions are trash, I'm not going to listen to you, because I'd never tell anybody that their opinion is trash. I'm not going to do that. But even if you don't like it, hit that dislike, hit the like. Let us know how y'all are feeling, man, because again, we want to grow, and we want to do it as organic, as authentic as possible, as humanly possible, because again, we're doing it for y'all, man. We're doing it for us too, because we just love to talk, but we're doing it for y'all, man, because we feel like the passion. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. But we also know that the passion, the energy, and the vibe isn't there always across the board, and we feel like we're bringing something that not everybody else can. So, with that being said, man, much love to everybody. Again, thank you for tuning in. Episode 7, lucky number 7, and this is Living Split Screen in the morning, your 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. UK time show. And me and Pong.
Play what you love what you play, gamers.
That's a fact.
Just enjoy.
Much love.
Just enjoy. Golden age of gaming. Absolutely. Have a great rest of your weekend, all.
Actually, before I completely dismiss, you want to do outros real quick? Like official outros?
I don't know, man. I think we're good. What do you think?
Look, if you can't find me, my name's I Still Rain, I everywhere. The T's are 7.
Pong Soul everywhere.
Just look me up, man. It's YouTube, Twitter. Come find us, man. Come join us. Let's have a conversation. Hit me in the DMs, man. Living Split Screen. Again, hit us in the comments. Let us know how y'all feeling. Other than that, man, peace. Much love, and we out.
Later, all.